5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
What a huge weekend, and Anthony Edwards comes out as the star amongst many stars that we saw. Hey, Perloff. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Infinity Sports Network. Okay, let's get to it. We'll get to the Tom Brady roast in just a moment because we were all watching that last night. We've got some of his best jokes on cue. But Anthony Edwards kind of wins the weekend, which was a very busy, packed weekend of sports. And it seems like, Perloff, he's even head and shoulders above everyone else if we're talking about biggest stories of the weekend.
So I was at a Kentucky Derby party, as I like to do, in the neighborhood.
How fancy.
Yeah, I was actually the only one wearing a sport jacket. I have this light blue sport jacket that looks like a Kentucky Derby jacket. So I'm sitting there like an idiot. Everyone else dressed normal. And we watched a Derby, all-time Derby, incredible finish. And then the T-Wolves Nuggets came on, and people were watching like, casuals who don't even know the NBA, like, whoa, who is that? He's got this who is that vibe.
Got it.
I'm even going to give him the ultimate modern day compliment. He's got a little bit of that Caitlin Clark vibe going, where I think people are like, whoa, I want to see this guy. Ironically, he's not a woman, but I feel like he is the buzz player of the moment. I think people are getting to know him, and it's so exciting. He is the next. And we all love the next. It is happening right in front of our face. He is slowly, actually not that slowly, becoming the under 30 face of the NBA for sure, and maybe the face of the entire league.
Okay, here's where I might push back a minute, and I'm all in on Anthony Edwards. Like, this is not me trashing his game or trashing the story, and I'm very curious in what happens in Game 2 tonight. Minnesota took Game 1 against Denver, and now they play Game 2 tonight in Denver. I just wonder, do you have to win, and do you have to win this series to truly be anointed as that next thing? Because Anthony Edwards is not an MVP candidate. He's a great player, and he's having this all-time moment now in the postseason. But, Jokic, even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, these are other guys who are getting all this MVP love. Can you be the face of the league or the biggest star in the league? I don't even love face. Can you be the biggest star in the league if you aren't the best winner in the league? Yeah. I get you don't always, the winner isn't always the face. Jokic is not the face. Tim Duncan won a lot, but he wasn't like the superstar because his personality didn't really want to be. Can we give you the crown of being like the biggest star in the league if you're not going to win like the biggest star needs to win in basketball?
Well, I think, first of all, there's no worse group of voters than NBA MVP. They voted Westbrook and Harden back-to-back years. They have no idea what they're talking about.
All right, well, he didn't even get any first place. Like, at the last straw poll that came out, he got no first place vote.
And Embiid is an MVP. Like, winning and MVP are not, they have nothing in common. There's zero common ground there. So let's get that out of the way. Of the other MVP candidates, nobody is challenging Anthony Edwards' star power. You have Embiid, no. Jokic, no. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a wonderful player, but he's below the rim. He's never going to fascinate people like Anthony Edwards. Jason Tatum, there's none of it. I mean, we've seen Jason Tatum be elite for 5 years. People are not lining up to see Jason Tatum play alone. He's a great player, but he's not an exciting player. So you get the winning. I think the fact that they won Game 1 and they look like they have a great chance of this series, I feel like the winning is there, but you get the Vince Carter excitement. So you have the combo platter, which you don't have with these other young stars. To me, I would never do this, but I saw a young Michael Jordan on Saturday night.
Caitlin Clark and Michael Jordan, mark it down. Perloff, who's next?
Well, the way that he would turn around on that little turnaround jumper and hang in the air, nobody's really done that except since Jordan. He obviously styles his game after Jordan. So, yeah, I know, this is getting ridiculous. But the thing is, too, here's why I think is his star power. Even if they lose this series, I think it's coming because, like, when he gets to Paris this summer with the Olympic team, do you think anybody wants to see LeBron in Paris? Anyone wants to see KD? Any of these old dinosaurs who they've seen in 50 different Olympics? Everyone's going to want to see Anthony Edwards. They're going to be two guys, Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards, that people, because he's new. We've seen enough of LeBron. Maggie, do you really need to see him? So, and we've seen Joker. We've seen Jason Tatum. This is something that the NBA hasn't had in a while. A winning player who's also wildly exciting.
Yeah, and who wants it and who wants the spotlight. You know, Jokic doesn't want it.
Well, he's boring.
The NBA would love it if he would be, you know, if he was going to be this bigger deal. But he's a reluctant star, and that's fine, I guess.
Also, he's not American, and he plays well under the rim.
That's
Even
true.
for a 7-footer, this is... I think the NBA has missed the high flyer, you know, because the game has come out and Jokic is like, he's efficient and he has some fun passes. But is that really what, if you're a 10-year-old kid, you're into a Joker outlet pass?
No, but I think kids are into Luka, and Luka's not an above the rim player. But what we're talking about here is Anthony Edwards, who's really kind of stepping to the front as one of the big stars of the NBA. But can you be considered the biggest star if you haven't won yet, or if you're... I mean, listen, they had a really great game one. Minnesota clearly has the size to match up with Denver, but is Minnesota going to win more than another game in this series? Game or two? I'm not sure yet. I know that they're a worthy opponent, but let's see. Jamal Murray's knee might be an issue here, but let's see before we anoint them, you know, prematurely.
I don't know. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm overreacted to game one. I do not see this. If the Nuggets win, it's going to be in 6 or 7. They just have so many matchup problems against Minnesota because Minnesota's so tall. If Rudy plays as well as he did, Rudy Gobert, in the second half of game one, if he plays half that well, Minnesota, usually he chokes in the playoffs, and he was actually quite effective. And they kind of know the Nuggets really well. You saw... obviously, Joker, a lot of people were paying attention to when they broke up the alley-oop to Aaron Gordon, which works all the time. They know this team like the back of their hand. They're not intimidated. And Jamal Murray just being a little bit hurt, I think, is a huge edge here.
Maybe the door gets cracked open a little bit.
I already put a bet in on the T-Wolves at plus 170 before the series started. This just feels like a great opportunity for them to take down the champ.
EJ, can we throw this up on the poll? Can Anthony Edwards be considered the biggest star in the league if he's not also considered the best player in the league? And that might change. He's definitely gotten a lot better. But right now, he's not the best player in the league. He's having a great playoff so far.
Right.
I also wonder, does he pass this sort of test, if you will? The whole thing about if you were to start a franchise right now in the NBA, who's the first pick that you would take?
Well, Wembanyama.
Wembanyama, and I think Jokic. I don't know how far down the list do we get before we get to Anthony Edwards. It's not far, but it's definitely not 1, 2, and maybe even 3.
Oh, I think you could put up a poll. Who would you start a team with, Anthony Edwards or Jokic? I think Anthony Edwards wins that.
Well, is that an age thing, though, just because Jokic is a little older? Anthony Edwards is still only 22. But,
well, you're right. That's my point.
I know, but again... Well, okay, put that up
Anthony
on the poll.
Because
here's the thing, Jokic can play forever. This you mentioned it, not an above the rim game. I mean, Jokic's game is going to age well because he's already got an old man game, for an NBA player.
I mean, I think I don't think it's Jokic. I think you could maybe do a Luka versus Anthony Edwards would be that's a great debate to me. Maybe you do Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think Jokic is just a little old for that question. I'm nitpicking there because of the age. But also, let's face it, Anthony Edwards has not had a lot of playoff experience, but he's averaging 30 points a game in his playoff experience. He's averaging 33 this year, 31 last year.
Yep.
I mean, he's got the actual basketball skills, too, and he's a great defender, too. He's causing a lot of problems with Nuggets. So I think the basketball debate is very legitimate, too. At least he's in that conversation. And then you get the highlights. That's what I'm saying. If he's in a top 5 player conversation and you're going to pass along YouTube clips,
sure.
That, to me, is what the difference is.
So, again, we're talking about Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was in a movie with Perloff, Hustle, and he was phenomenal in it.
Sandler told me, he said, Andy, all the NBA players are coming up to me and saying Anthony Edwards is the next one. And I didn't understand it at the time. Sandler said every player was in awe of Anthony Edwards. There's something about the guy. I think amongst players, he's on a different level because he's fascinating. He's just different.
He totally is. And you mentioned it before, though, about the Vince Carter style, right? Like Vince Carter with the dunks. Vince Carter was a great player, right? And he was electrifying player.
Right.
He was never considered the greatest player in the NBA at any point.
Right, but he would win the All-Star vote almost every year.
Okay, but again,
because the fans loved Vince Carter. The young idiot fans like me. Richard Jefferson once said that people would line up down the block to watch Vince Carter play a pickup game.
Yeah.
So if he can combine Vince Carter and Dwayne Wade and be a total winner, oh my God.
See,
now that's a long stretch. But if he gives you some of that, then Maggie, it is happening.
Yeah, see, I think that if you told Anthony Edwards your career is going to be like Vince Carter, and again, no disrespect to Carter, great college player, played 20 years?
Great pro player. I mean, he almost
pro player.
Took the Raptors single-handedly to the finals. If he didn't go to his graduation against in Game 7 against the Sixers, then they could have gone there. I mean, he's a very good pro player as well.
Really good pro player, but I don't think that that's the comp that he'd be looking for. Because Vince Carter is not associated with winning. He's associated with dunking.
If you put Vince Carter on this team, then they might have. He never had a great team around him. I think Anthony Edwards, that's the other thing. Are the T-Wolves a very good team around? Like, how good is this team?
We're going to find out.
Naz Reid, 6th man of the year, keeps playing like this. It's a very good team around him, too. So I think you combine the two, and we might be seeing something special. Might in the sense that I could be wrong, and you're right, the Nuggets could turn around and win the next 4 games. I am dubious, especially with Murray being hurt.
Yeah, see, I think it could be only a matter of time till the Nuggets, do something that just reminds us, oh, yes, you're the Nuggets. They had close games against the Lakers, but ultimately, I mean, they were just so much better. And we'll see about Minnesota because they are a better matchup against the Nuggets because they're so much bigger. But before we go anointing and before we go calling changing of the guards, and before we could start doing all this stuff, can we see if the kid can win another series? I mean, I'm like the pump the brakes one on this. And I love what's going on with Anthony Edwards. I'm not trying to, pour cold water on it. But can I see a little something more? Doesn't he have to? 6 games, 7 games at least against the Nuggets. You can't win one more game and then all of a sudden we're like, all right, you're now the new, biggest star in the league. Get every shoe commercial, every Sprite commercial.
Let's go anointing. That's what I want to say. Hey, everybody's like, let's go streaky. Let's go anointing. Why?
Bring your green hat.
I admit I have a history of prematurely anointing. I'm not going to lie about that.
Well, and the opposite, because you were down on Wembanyama.
I was down. Oh, yeah. But I quickly jumped back on that band. I am not afraid to quickly whiplash style get back on a bandwagon. Wemby is amazing. Anthony Edwards is amazing. And also, I had been arguing that the NBA was in trouble after LeBron retires. Now I'm starting to feel more hope. Believe it or not, this playoff, a lot of people have noted all the stars are gone. Steph Curry's gone, KD's gone, and LeBron's gone. And all of a sudden, I'm getting sucked into the storylines, which is a good sign for the league.
No doubt. 855-212-4227. Start off the show talking about Anthony Edwards. And can you be the biggest star in the league if you're not the best player in the league? And he might get there soon, like real soon. But he's not right there right now.
Yeah.
So you can go to @Maggie and Pearl. You can vote. Poll question. Glad to be back in the chair. Missed you guys on Friday.
Yeah, how'd it go? You were speaking to everyone in Binghamton.
Yeah, the whole city was there. Everyone showed up. It was not an empty seat.
So my sense of this, and you were very vague about what was going on. You were speaking to a college crowd, right?
I was speaking to a college and town sort of crowd. They call this thing the Binghamton University Forum.
Yeah.
So they bring distinguished people from the university and also distinguished people from the community. They all get together. And I was very nervous about this because I was born and raised in Binghamton. I didn't go to school there, but born and raised there, and my connection's super deep. And the day before, you guys know I was nervous, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, this is not my crowd. I wasn't sure the sports crowd or whatever. And I found out the day before that Henry Kissinger had been a former speaker. And I'm like, yeah, but did he have Knicks takes? Because I don't think he did.
Did he have what?
May he rest in peace. Knicks takes. Opinions about the Knicks.
Wait, let me ask a question, though. Were you catering to the college crowd or the townie crowd? And did you sort of vacillate? Did you use townie Maggie voice at all?
I did. Well, I called myself a proud townie.
Wow.
Yeah. That got a laugh.
Did you ever get professorial on them? Did you ever break it down?
Oh, what am I going to say? You know what I did? A lot of storytelling. I did 3 stories.
3 stories
Three
in 15
stories
minutes.
of me on my way up, and then a little bit of like women in sports type stuff. But 3 stories. You got to hit people with stories. That's what they want. They don't want a presentation. They don't want something dry. You work in sports. We have unique things that happen to us. So it was a lot of stories. So thank you, everyone, for your support of saying I was going to bomb.
Nobody said that. Did you do any Tom Brady roast style jokes? Were there any dirty jokes?
No, I wasn't pointing out people's recent divorces.
Yeah.
I decided to stay away.
Did you say? Weren't you nervous when your wife was doing 8 jiu-jitsu classes a day?
No.
Oh no.
We will get to Tom Brady because that was something last night. We cannot play our favorite jokes because we'd get kicked off the air and Pete Bellotti might have a meltdown. But we'll play some of the best jokes, some of the cleaner jokes. Don't worry, Pete.
Okay.
We have a lot to do. It's a big weekend. Start with Anthony Edwards. Can he be the biggest star in the league if he's not the best player in the league? 855-212-4227. We come back with some of the jokes from Tom Brady's roast last night. Hold tight.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. All right, here's the deal. Tom Brady roast last night. I don't understand, Maggie. You said that we have some of the sound. I watched the roast. There was about 8 seconds that was safe for radio. So I don't know how we're going to do this. People ought to get those hands ready.
Yeah, carefully
dump
is how we're
quickly.
going to do this.
Yeah, that was exceeded my expectations by a lot. I thought it was going to be so boring. The first 8 minutes were totally boring. And then, bam, totally delivered. Drew Bledsoe, Nikki Glazer, amazing. There were so many people who just killed it. I was shocked at how good this was.
Okay, so this was a little bit of a promo. Let's play cut 2, please, Pete. This was a bit of a promo that ran, I think, right before the roast started, and it's Belichick, and he's in this scene benching Drew Bledsoe for Tom Brady at the roast.
It's great seeing you again. This is a big night. The fans want you. Everyone wants you. But it's not your night. Sorry, Drew. Brady.
Yeah, Coach.
You're in. Let's go.
Let's go. Are you kidding me? Again?
And Drew Bledsoe, I think, was one of the best first early roasters. You're right, Perloff. It was a little bit tough in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Drew Bledsoe comes up and he starts cracking jokes on Belichick where he goes, at least when I got fired, somebody else wanted me. I mean, they spared no expense on Belichick. It was awesome. But Belichick got a little of his revenge. Let's hear from Belichick. This is, again, the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix, joking about how Tom Brady's getting roasted on Netflix, but Bill Belichick also got roasted this year.
Seriously, I'm so honored to be here for the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix. It's not to be confused. It's not to be confused with the roast of Bill Belichick on the 10-part Apple TV series.
There you go. The 10-part documentary Dynasty on Apple Plus was basically a roast of Bill Belichick. Belichick also acknowledging that he and Brady did butt heads every now and again, even if that seemed odd.
People have said that Tom and I butted heads a lot, and in a way that was true, but not really. It was hard to butt heads with Tom because it was so far up Alex Guerrero's.
And of course, Guerrero's like his famous trainer, you know, who he does TB12 with. There was a lot more in here.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, actually, pause for a second. What was your favorite part?
I thought Nikki Glazer was unbelievable when listen, the professional comedians are obviously going to be better at this, but even all the professional comedians weren't all that funny. And Nikki Glazer and the guy who is Kill Tony from out of Texas, Austin, Texas, he does a podcast and a live show. He was phenomenal also. And I thought those two were the two best comedians. Yeah,
I loved first of all, I couldn't believe the material. There was a lot of making fun of Giselle cheating on him, which was crazy to me. I don't know why Tom Brady did that. The funniest little thing was everybody, after Randy Moss spoke, everybody got up there and made a joke about his outfit, which was so funny.
They called him the Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah. And so what was the other thing? The Randy Moss jokes were incredible because to me, the reactions of Randy Moss and Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski were really the fuel that kept the whole thing going because them laughing and looking silly to every joke made, like, Nikki Glazer was so funny because everyone was enjoying it. Like, these jokes, you know, a roast, if people aren't buying in, then they can be tough, but everyone bought in. It was awesome.
It is true. I mean, Tom looked very uncomfortable at certain points, but that is to be expected because he was getting it. Let's hear from Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning makes an appearance last night and said he was very comfortable making fun of Tom Brady.
Honestly, it is great to be with a bunch of people sitting around talking smack about Tom Brady. Or as we call that in the Manning family, Thanksgiving. True story. After spending several Thanksgivings with my parents, my kids now excuse themselves to use the bathroom by saying, I have to go take a Brady.
There you go. And then Brady did get some of his revenge here. Let's hear from Brady joking about Belichick not winning any Super Bowls since he left New England.
Out of the game for a minute, so I'm curious. How many Super Bowl rings have you won since I left? Maybe it's not just the guy on the sideline. When I go to the Indy 500, I don't ask the winning driver, hey, who gassed up your car?
Good joke. And then Brady again joking that about Deflategate. Let's hear that one.
Remember Deflategate? The NFL spent $20 million and found that it was more probable than not that I was generally aware that someone may have deflated my footballs. You could have just given me the $20 million and I would just told you I f***ing did it.
So there you go. Little smattering of what we could actually play from what was a very raunchy night. And you're right. I mean, the Deflategate stuff, there was a lot of that kind of humor. Some of it tied into Giselle also. His divorce was definitely the front, like the big piece that people were making fun of him.
Well, it's funny. Deflategate feels like nothing now. There was a lot of like the Spygate and Deflategate jokes were nothing.
Yeah.
It was all the ones with the Aaron Hernandez jokes.
Those were
those were tough, but not really, because the jokes that really made me cringe is the jokes about Giselle cheating on him. I'm like, isn't that the worst nightmare of any guy to be cheated on by their wife? And they are just throwing it out there for, Mr. America. Like, that struck me as odd. Like, why did Tom Brady agree to that?
Plus, his kids are probably watching.
Yeah,
too.
I know. I thought the same thing, Pete. I'm like, oh my God, if they're not watching now, they're going to see it eventually. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. The whole thing is up for jokes.
Okay, but
that surprised me.
You don't think that he thought about that? I mean, this is not just something that gets decided upon on a whim. I think there's something about, Brady's got to know that maybe some of those jokes, would they be painful for his kids, or is it a lesson that, you can laugh at yourself, and sometimes you have to laugh things off. You don't think so?
It's a lesson that
you're saying his wife had an affair.
With a jujitsu.
The mother of their children had an affair.
Yeah. There's the lesson is your mom is
punt on that.
Well, hold on. We don't know everything that went on in their relationship, but also I don't know if she did or she didn't, but if she did, then the kids might know about it anyway.
So does that mean it's right?
It might not be right, but
I do think this is sort of problematic for Tom Brady.
Do you don't think that Giselle also, do you think that he didn't consult with her at all, considering they do have 2 kids together, 3 kids together? I know they all co-parent, but... Yeah,
I do not think that Giselle was in on this in any possible... You think he called her and said, hey, they're going to make jokes about this?
Definitely.
Oh, my
Without
God.
a doubt. Everyone knows
Giselle
what a roast
was
is.
in on that?
Do you think they're going to, be making fun of when Brady lost to the Giants twice? They did that, too. But, of course, his personal life. They talked about him losing all that money in crypto, and they're definitely going to take shots at him and his marriage falling apart, right?
So you think he called Giselle and said there's going to be a lot of jokes about you having an affair with the jiu-jitsu instructor?
I don't know if he knew about that, but...
The affair part, like the breakup and the divorce, you're single. Yeah, that's all fair play. But all the implications that he got cheated on, that I think that maybe was not pre-planned.
Okay, but here's the thing. You go into this kind of roast and you don't really have control, do you? Because actually, let's hear the part where Brady gets mad at Jeff Ross. So Jeff Ross is like the roast master, and he made a joke about about Robert Kraft, and Brady was not happy.
He said, I'm the best decision your organization has ever made. Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. Okay.
That part seemed kind of genuine. Brady went up to Jeff Ross and said, do not say it. Don't make any of those jokes again about Robert Kraft. I don't know. You guys think that Gisele's going to be mad about this? She's definitely going to be mad, but you don't think Brady went to her and said, I'm going to do this roast on Netflix, and they're probably going to take a couple shots at us?
He's getting upset at Robert Kraft jokes. He should be getting upset at Giselle cheating on him jokes.
I would lean.
I don't know where his head is.
I don't know about his, but my sense is no, he did not clear this with Giselle. Because how do you make that call? Hey, honey, I'm about to do this roast on Netflix. I think they're going to make fun of you cheating on me. I just can't see anyone having that conversation. That's a hard conversation to start. Well, hey, who's dropping off Billy at softball? Oh, by the way, Jeff Ross and the gang are going to be making fun of you for 3 straight hours. I don't think he said that.
But again, they do share children who are definitely old enough to be watching this on the internet and aware of it.
Oh, right. They're high school athletes, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the oldest one is in high school. He might be going to college soon.
Yeah, that was a Bridget Moynihan.
Yes, and there were jokes about that also.
A little less. And it's funny, the Bridget Moynihan jokes seem to hurt Tom a little more than the Giselle jokes. I don't think he's super proud of that moment.
Well, that's the thing. You sign up for a roast. I would like to think that he said to Giselle, hey, I'm doing this. And, maybe this does teach our kids you got to laugh at yourself. Or you got to.
Teach our kids? What?
I don't know.
There's a moral here? Did you watch
do you think he's just an awful person?
Yes.
Because you would have to think Tom Brady's an awful person if you think he intentionally put his children in the crossfire here.
I think that was an odd decision. I love that he did this, and I'm all on Team Brady after this. But I do think from a family standpoint, it was definitely, I think he was super angry at this whole thing, and this was probably meant to get back at Giselle.
Yeah, and if I'm Tom Brady's children, I'm not gathering around the TV set with popcorn to watch this whole thing transpire too. It's not on my radar. I'd be totally removed from it.
I know, but they got to go to school the next day.
Yeah,
I mean, they live in the world, right?
Yeah, their friends will definitely bring this up.
But so if you think that Tom and Giselle didn't talk about this, or he wasn't aware, or didn't have a conversation with his kids before, or something like that, and try to put this in context, then you have to think Tom Brady's a monster, because that's your point.
Well, you're a Bills fan. You probably already think that.
I already hate Brady.
He got a couple shots in on the Bills. I enjoyed that.
I know. It definitely did. Can't have a day in peace.
Yeah. Wait, does anyone not think Tom Brady is a monster? Of course he's a monster. That's how he won 7 Super Bowl rings.
Interesting.
No, I do think it's funny because he's a very famously family guy. He loves his kids. He's a great dad. I was surprised he put them through this. I'm not sure he understood that part of it. Everything else was awesome. He came off as a great sport, and he was laughing at the right times, and he got Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft sort of together. There's a lot of good things. The family part was a little off-putting.
Interesting. I'd love to put that as a poll question. How do you put that? Is Tom Brady a bad guy because his kids got dragged through the mud?
I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's hurt from what happened with Giselle and was sort of getting back at her. And I don't think it was, his kids are going to hear this at some point anyway. That's the other thing too. They know what happened, right? They read the papers.
Of course. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you think that he did this either to get back at Giselle, that backfired because he was the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
She also took some shrapnel too. But then again, you'd have to think he's a monster. Because if he's doing a Netflix roast to get back at his ex-wife, and by extension, his kids end up getting in the fray.
Monster's a strong word.
Okay, well,
I mean, is that monstrous?
Then you have to think that he's I mean, what is a worse word? Anywhere you would ever put your kids in harm's way, or to take any kind of barbs from comedians, then.
Well, that's interesting. Is that for some reason that does not strike me as monstrous?
Your duty as a father, isn't it?
Well, the reality is that his kids are going to see this, and everyone's going to make sort of fun of them or talk behind their back. So you're saying the result, regardless of the intent, is monstrous. Like, it definitely puts his kids at a bad spot.
No, I'm saying I thought he was teaching them you got to laugh at yourself. If you're going to do this, or you're going to be in the public eye, and it's not their choice to be in the public eye, but they are because their parents are famous, then you got to learn to laugh at yourself even at your toughest moments. And I think that's probably the lesson here.
Hey, look, kids, we had affairs. What a joke. Oh, yeah, laugh. No, look at how they split up. Look at how they split up. You could say that the NFL is the reason why they split up. And I wouldn't want to bring that around my kids.
Well, they probably split up for a lot of reasons, but I get it. Listen,
one jiu-jitsu instructor seems like the main reason.
I don't think so. There's no divorce is ever one thing, but I get it. I'm a product of divorce. It's painful for kids when their parents separate, and I was much younger than Brady's kids. It's not easy at all, but at some point, don't you have to laugh at your pain? That's my point.
Well, if your parents had been at a roast, would that have been upsetting when in your teenage years?
I don't know. Depends how it was framed to me, I think. Well, Pat Boyle is here. He's got
by the way,
headlines
that's
for
an impossible question. So when you were 14, Maggie, if your parents had been on Netflix,
that would have been a really wild turn.
Yeah, that would have been odd. I don't think any of us can relate to anything going on with Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen because none of us are the greatest quarterback of all time or the most successful supermodel of all time. We're close. Don't get me wrong.
Listen.
We kind of look like that if you go to our YouTube feed. People give us Tom Brady, Gisele vibes, but
Still time. 855-212-4227. Was Tom Brady in the wrong to agree to this roast knowing that his family was going to take some of the shrapnel? Pat Boyle's here. He's got headlines. Hey, Pat.
Yeah, we had a couple of Game 7s yesterday. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell said, I'm tired of losing. So he followed up his 50-burger in the Game 6 loss with 39 points, 9 rebounds. The Cavs come back from 18 down in the first half to beat the Magic 106-94. They eliminate the emerging star Paolo Banchero and Orlando, and they're moving on to the second round to face the Celtics. After the game, Spida said, his team can be even better. They'll need to be.
We can be better. You know what I mean? And I hate to be that guy, but, this was great. This was phenomenal as a great win, great series, great test for us mentally, physically. But, we can and we will have to be better to beat Boston.
Yep, they absolutely will need to be. Not going to get away with starting games 0 for 9 from deep. But Karis LeVert stepped up 15 points off the bench. Evan Mobley with 16 rebounds. He was big as Jarrett Allen missed his third straight game with a rib injury.
Now, I know Donovan Mitchell was good. He's going to have to be a little bit better to carry LeBron next year. So in Lakerland, that was a wonderful tryout. He did a good job, but he's got to keep that up. So that's a lot of work on Donovan's shoulders there.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't everyone watching?
You think he's going to LA?
I was watching. I don't know where he's going, but nobody took him as a future Cav in that game. Everyone's like, well, is he going here? Is he going there? I don't even know his contract status, but apparently he's the guy that everyone wants now.
That became a bigger story than the actual game. It
Yes.
was Game 7. I'm like, and then the Magic got out to this huge lead, and I was like, haha, that storyline backfired, and then Donovan Mitchell became awesome.
Yeah,
and Garland was very good, too.
Remember everyone thought the Cavs lost on purpose to face the Magic? That's what I was laughing at. Like, oh, that was a bad strategy. But I call this the NBA TV playoff series. Like, this is not ready for prime time as a series as there's ever been. That it's funny, everyone focused on it last night because there was nothing else to watch.
Yeah, I think he's extension eligible this summer, but 2024-25 next year he's 34, just under $35 million, and then he's got a player option for the year after that.
So that means that he could be traded.
Yeah, they should
Cavs
trade
want
him
some
now.
assets.
Yeah.
Yep. In the loss, Paolo Banchero, 38 points, 16 rebounds, but nobody else really showed up for Orlando, including their second-best player, Franz Wagner, who went, wait for it, 1 for 15 from the field, finished with 6 points. Magic head coach Jamal
What's
Mosley.
German for you suck?
Yes. Very bad. Jamal Mosley on choking away a massive lead.
They went on a heck of a run. I think they did a great job of, forcing tough shots. Those tough shots and long shots led to runouts. We got stagnant a little bit. We found something that worked. And, then we missed a couple shots and they were able to get out and run. Donovan got downhill quite a bit.
Home team did not lose a game in this series. Game 1 in Boston tomorrow night. Very quick turnaround for Cleveland. We've already got storylines brewing fast and furiously off the court. That includes the future of Jimmy Butler. First of all, did you guys see this clip over the weekend, by the way, of him trash-talking the Celtics, saying they'd be home if they played in the first round? Then he takes aim at the Knicks, basically says Josh Hart wouldn't do anything, and Tibbs needs him. He doesn't need Tibbs, and he beat Tibbs to a bloody pulp.
Wait, do we have to take this video with a grain of salt because he said it outside of a bar in Cancun? Was he actually in Cancun?
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Great assault because he was hammering, you mean?
I mean, he didn't exactly sit down and say it on,
But,
NBA Countdown.
He knows somebody puts a camera in his face. He knows it's going on social media. He knows.
Do you think he knew what day it was?
But that being said, Jimmy Butler thinks everything he said. He absolutely believes what he said. He thinks he could beat anybody. That's sort of his magical power. It's crazy confidence.
Let's talk about 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Yeah, his future big talking point. He's also extension eligible this offseason. Miami Herald reported a couple days ago he's seeking a 2-year max deal worth $113 million. Not much from Pat Riley or Eric Spoelstra on his future, but If they can't get a deal done, he's set to make just under $49 million next season. Then he's got a player option as well for 25-26.
Cap is correcting me. He was in Miami for the F1 event.
Oh, right.
The Grand Prix.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, but Max Verstappen, I think, lost, by the way. That's like an upset, I guess, anytime that happens.
Yeah. And I know Patrick Mahomes threw a ball really long before that went completely viral. Did you guys see that?
No.
I saw it in the stadium.
Yeah. I mean, but Miami F1 sounds cool. I give Jimmy a pass because I really think Jimmy Butler thinks that, and I think he's right, by the way. Like, that guy he's beaten everybody.
You think they would have beat the Celtics?
No.
They couldn't even score 80 points.
I know. They wouldn't beat them this year, but generally he's proven he can single-handedly beat the Celtics. He proved it last year.
The only thing, though, about Jimmy is what are you paying for, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You are paying for playoff Jimmy, but if he's so injured now, this is why sometimes I feel like I'm getting gaslit by the NBA when all these older players who are definitely hurt all the time, I'm being told that they all need max contract extensions. I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant. Why are these guys max players? It's like those contracts suck the moment they sign them.
Well, Durant played 72 games this year, which was a miracle. LeBron's still averaging 38 minutes a game. So maybe these guys are defying time. No, it kind of stinks because I'm a Sixers fan. I know we're going to sign one of these 35-year-olds, and it's not going to work. Yeah, it's a good point, but you know the NBA is going to do it. You know all these guys are getting max. What was you said? 2 years, $113 million?
Yeah.
I'd give him that.
Yeah, I would not.
I just want Jimmy to yell at all the slackers on the team. The leadership is there.
That's a lot to pay for leadership. You had Udonis Haslem. You were paying him like $500,000.
Yeah. I mean, he did basically nothing till he got to the Heat in terms of actually playoff success. Got Tibbs fired from his previous job and broke up that whole thing in Minnesota.
Well, Chicago, I mean, we never know what could have been with Derrick Rose, but that was a tough team.
Well, he had some success with the Sixers. He was one of the best playoff runs they had was with him. He is really good in the playoffs. The Sixers had a choice between him and Tobias Harris.
I've had enough of Jimmy Butler at this point, and that's just not being a salty Knicks fan from last year. But, I mean, he's 38 years old, and he basically played, it felt like he played 30 games this year, did nothing of substance. They were an abysmal team, barely snuck into the play-in tournament, and then got washed in 5 games. The only game they won because they had a playoff franchise record in 3-pointers.
He's a loser.
I'm done with the Heat culture BS. I'm done with Jimmy Butler. He's not that good anymore.
Pure loser.
1 year can change a lot. He's 38 going on 50.
I get it. These guys are old. I can't say Jimmy Butler's a loser.
35.
I mean,
he's a loser.
He was the best player.
He complains, enough.
Oh, well, if everyone who complained was a loser, we wouldn't have any players left in the league.
Actually,
he won a title?
He's 34, and you're making him 38.
Here's the thing. He was the main cog in 2 of the more improbable runs to the finals that we've ever seen.
They win?
No, but he didn't get to a final. I mean, you don't think that means anything? Get into a final? I get it. Second place is the first loser in the Bellotti handbook. But
not for all that talk. Nope, loser. Go home.
On the ice, the Dallas Stars ensured we will have a new Stanley Cup champion. They sent the reigning champs home packing, scoring the go-ahead goal inside the first minute in the third period, holding on to eliminate the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 in Game 7. Meanwhile, Game 1 of the second round in the East, the Rangers held on to beat the Hurricanes at MSG 4-3. I believe just after you guys got off the air Friday, the Dolphins signed OBJ, 1-year deal worth over $8 million. And then, Maggie, your Bills signed Chase Claypool to a 1-year deal, along with linebacker Deion Jones and pass rusher Dwayne Smoot.
Get the parade going.
I'm not sure if I would be surprised if he even makes it to the roster.
Yeah.
I could see him getting cut in training camp. But we'll see.
And then finally, Perloff, your Phillies, big win yesterday. Bryce Harper, 3-run bomb. Alec Boehm, 18-game hitting streak. They beat the Giants 5-4.
Who has the best record in all of Major League Baseball? I feel like it's a team out of Philadelphia.
Yeah. This is
He's
amazing.
on the baseball season.
No,
Get ready.
it's not going to last because the first sign of any kind of trouble in Philadelphia, Perloff will be shouting that it's an Eagles town.
That's right.
So we can't do this. I'm not talking about another Philly team. We had to do all that 76ers garbage. We need a break.
But also, real quick, one of his other teams went home again, the Toronto Maple Leafs, this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
No. But I'm not a Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah, you
I
loved them.
want the Maple Leafs to win, but I'm also a Bruins guy. because I know the coach. And that
Doesn't
was like,
make any
thank
sense.
God.
Don't even try to get
Thank
in his
God.
head with the logic.
Oh, hockey. I can do it for anyone I want in hockey.
They just played each other.
Remember when I told Maggie, remember when I told you about that guy, Connor McDavid? I said, watch out for him.
Yeah, thank you for the memo. Also, the update on Connor Bedard, guys. Thank you that he might have a future.
The
in this
Connors.
league.
I'm all about the Connors.
Yeah, this is Perloff Hockey Analysis. 855-212-4227. Pat, thank you so much. Coming up, checking in on one of the most interesting men in sports. We get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Check.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Haven't checked in on him in a minute. This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at WesleyFinancialGroup.com. Tom Brady, haha, he got roasted last night. Aaron Rodgers not there. They said the only person who wasn't there. They filled up the forum in LA. Aaron Rodgers. No restrictions going into OTAs. That's the big news out of Rodgers. This sped-up timeline of coming off the Achilles. Perloff, it didn't get him back in time for the end of the regular season last year, but he is going to be good to go.
Wait, so the injury was September 8th or something, or September 12th?
11th.
Yeah, September 11th, the first day. This is a good sign. Honestly, it feels like the Jets are quietly having a good offseason, which means nothing because we all loved them last offseason. I told you I wouldn't buy the hype again this offseason. Not buying it. But I got to admit, I saw the clips of him throwing. Ooh, that guy can throw a football, Maggie.
Listen,
in addition to being a crazy conspiracy theory guy, the dude can throw a spiral.
Yeah, we've known that. The other part of this is the Jets really did invest in offensive line. Now, I thought they were smart to do this with their first-round draft pick, not just getting Tyron Smith and also getting Morgan Moses, and they have learned their mistake here because whether Rodgers got hurt on the first game last season, he was going to get hurt because that offensive line just absolutely stunk last year. They needed to call in the reinforcements they have. Maybe that buys you a few more games.
Yeah, well, I reject the analysis that the offensive line got him hurt last year because that was 4 plays. I mean, you're telling me, okay.
Wasn't trending in the right direction.
Oh, come on. That was 4 plays. We have no idea what would have happened if Aaron Rodgers was there. Because great quarterbacks can help the line by getting rid of the ball. I think that is well, of course he got hurt. You got hurt 4 plays into the entire season. There's no logic there.
This is fun for the Jets and for Rodgers because this is the definition of an all-in season. The Cowboys tried to tease you with an all-in. That wasn't a real all-in because they didn't do anything. This is what, and the Rams, I think we really didn't understand what was happening until it was happening, where they were so pushed their chips in the middle of the table.
Wait, why is this an all-in season?
Isn't this it?
No, he said he's going to play next year, too.
Well, let's see.
And what else have they done that's all-in?
They built a good team. And I'm just saying it's because of Rodgers' age.
Wait. Show me. You say it as if it's a fact. I mean, we have no idea. They could easily be 6-11 this year.
Well, that means something bad would have happened to Rodgers. If Rodgers is playing the whole year, they're winning more than 6 games.
What have they done? Like the Rams got Jalen Ramsey and Matthew Stafford. I don't think the Jets have done anything like that.
No, they've been building their team in a much different way. But isn't this the one team that you feel like is the most boom or bust? I mean, why is Aaron Rodgers there? He's coming off this Achilles.
No, I feel like the expectations are way lower this year than last year. Last year, they were the hype team. This year, they're just a team. I don't think people are looking at them. The all-in team, there are several all-in teams this year, but not them.
But isn't that only because of Aaron Rodgers' health?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How much longer does he have to play?
But
this is the all-in part.
Mike Williams, and they booked the bookend tackles.
Yeah.
Offensive line was a disaster last year.
Right. They got Morgan Moses, who's 140. He's older than Moses, and Tyron Smith, who got cut by the Cowboys. And then they got Mike Williams, who is basically no value.
Well, they won 7 games last year with no quarterback. I mean, it's clearly they do have a good team. Because in the AFC, to come out with even a 7-10 record, I know it's a losing record, so for Pilati, that means absolutely nothing.
Losers.
But it does show you, I mean, how many wins could Aaron Rodgers be good for?
Right. But I think last year people were talking Super Bowl. Now you hear, okay, this could be a playoff team. I don't think, and maybe we're wrong, but nobody's really talking about, is anyone going to pick them to win the Super Bowl? That sounds like a huge stretch to me. I mean, they can't possibly be top 10 in odds.
I think this bodes a little bit better for them, maybe,
Right.
because
I mean,
maybe there is a little bit of the hype that's been maybe backed off a little, although
I
wait
agree.
5 minutes. I mean, they're not going to do Hard Knocks again. It's not going to be all that. But this is the team that's clearly chips the middle of the table, because there's another aspect of this, which is if they don't win this year, coach is gone, GM is gone, most likely, and you're starting over all over again with a whole new philosophy.
Right. But I mean, Morgan Moses, Mike Williams, and Tyron Smith, that's like basically plucked 2 out of 3 out of retirement. This is not the Rams all in. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting. Perloff doesn't think they did enough. 855-212-4227.
Wait, what?
Coming up, the one thing we're missing in sports. Maybe we'll get it. We're going to find out in just a moment. Don't move. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Feuds, rivalries. That's the theme on this Monday. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. No, not between us. We're talking about pop culture, Perloff. Last night, you get the roast of Tom Brady. You had some uncomfortable moments between Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Well, I guess Robert Kraft, that was fine. But Tom Brady and Giselle, I mean, their relationship, she wasn't there last night. Their relationship goes under the microscope, and the comedians were unforgiving in roasting every part about Tom Brady. And then in a different part of the pop culture world, you have this ongoing, forever going rap beef right now between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I think our question is, where'd the sports beefs go? Do we need something like we're getting in pop culture to happen right now to our current stars in sports?
Oh, it would be amazing. Yeah. But it's never happening. It will never happen again because players do not think like that anymore. They are closer to other players on other teams than they are their teammates in some cases. Whatever, there's many reasons this happened. Obviously, free agency being a big one. In basketball, AAU, and just the nationalization of amateur basketball. Like, everybody knows each other from age 12 on. These shoe deals. There are so many loyalties for players right now. It's nothing like old school in the 80s where Larry Bird was a Celtic and Magic Johnson was a Laker. Now guys are more identified with, are you with Clutch? Are you with Nike? Are you with Adidas? Where'd you play AAU? Like, there's so many different things that factor in. Football, where'd you play 7-on-7? Did you know this guy at Elite 11? There is just so many reasons that players are friends more than their rivals, and it's never coming back. There's no real beef.
Oh, man, I disagree. I mean, are we going to get to the level of what we're seeing, like, in the rap game right now? Probably not. But I think sports has their versions of it. I mean, everyone, listen, you try to put a positive spin on things sometimes just because you don't want the heat around it to be bigger. And you might not want to become like a quote unquote distraction, but you don't think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I mean, how many questions do they have to answer about their rivalry? In some ways, it almost like we couldn't just let them have a rivalry. That was like us. I think they would have developed a nice rivalry. They can respect each other, but they can also be rivals. And it felt like we, questioned it to death to the point where they had to just come out and say, no, we really do like each other. We really do like each other. Like it was going to make everyone feel better or something. Like everyone had a problem with the two of them being actual rivals. I think that would have developed into something great and still might.
No, I think they cut the knees out of that rivalry. And also, they played twice. I mean, is that going to be an all-time Bird Magic rivalry? Probably not, because they're so nice to each other right now.
Well, that's the thing. I think they felt like they had to because there was such a microscope on it. I mean, couldn't we just let them talk trash? Couldn't we just let them have this thing on the court? And I think the athletes themselves, they can't help but have these rivalries. You say they all know each other from when they're kids and they grow up liking each other. I think they know each other from when they're kids and they grow up and there could be some underlying animosities and stuff there. They just know how to play the game really well, like in terms of the media game, because nobody wants, unless you are like Patrick Beverly or something, nobody really wants to court that because they're probably afraid how it reflects on their brand or what have you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of the old school guys, and they kept to themselves because they didn't want to become friends with their rivals. Now LeBron's on the banana boat with Chris Paul and Carmelo. Like, they're all buddies, and they also have so many common business interests that I don't think the way the world works now, like, you can't really be rivals because you might have to do a $200 million deal with all these guys. Yeah. They're all in it together.
It's funny. I still feel like we do have rivalries, and I wish that we would foster them a little bit more.
Like who, though? Give me some.
I think Travis Kelce versus all of the Bengals. And I don't think that Mahomes and Burrow are really close. I think maybe Mahomes and Josh Allen are close. Would you really see Mahomes and Burrow ever hanging out? And I'm glad they don't. We should have rivalries. I mentioned the roast of Tom Brady last night. He and Peyton Manning are friends now. They weren't. Not back when they were playing. I don't think they were. I don't think they were secretly super good friends behind the scenes.
I doubt they had a rivalry because they're quarterbacks. They're not going to face each other. What's the difference? Quarterbacks cannot possibly be rivals with other quarterbacks because they're not tackling each other.
They absolutely can be because even if they are not literally playing against each other, they are the ones who get billed as the head-to-head matchup. And you had Brady and you had Peyton Manning who are vying for who is the best quarterback of the generation as they're playing together.
But I think you might be wrong. I think they've always been friends. I think they've always had mutual respect. Honestly,
okay, mutual respect is different. That's different.
I can't imagine that they ever had a problem with each other. First of all, there wasn't even a rivalry. Brady destroyed him. I don't think they ever had problems getting along. I mean, like, we're talking rivals, like real beef. You're telling me Peyton Manning and Tom Brady had real beef, like that write rap songs about each other?
I think in their day, absolutely. Since they've all retired, it gets smoothed over a little bit. You know, time kind of heals some of the wounds there. But no, I think there's real beefs. I think that Belichick against Kraft is a real beef. I think Belichick and Brady had real beef. I think that these things are real.
Real beef is like Magic versus Bird. It's like Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. This Belichick versus Brady, yes, there was some family bad blood there, but that's not real beef. They won 6 Super Bowls together. Real beef is hating each other. See, the one thing about Magic and Bird, they didn't know each other at all because they did not come up together. They didn't have they actually both were with Converse, but it wasn't the same back then. Basically, they were strangers who'd see each other on the court. Now that never exists. Everyone knows each other. Everyone is spending all offseason together. They're probably in the same documentary. They're at the same F1 race. There's no way they play golf together on TV, on TNT. There's just no way that you could develop a real rivalry because you're forced to become friends with these guys. There's too much money.
Yeah, see, I think that even if you are pictured in the same place as somebody, doesn't mean that you are necessarily friends. And you can pose for one photo. It doesn't mean that you don't want to go out and beat that person or you don't have a rivalry.
You just gave me 2 examples of guys who are on the same, 3 guys who are on the same team, Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. Like, that is not... I grew up with rivalries. Like, guys hated each other. We were in the same division. They faced each other every year and wanted to kill each other. I don't think that exists anymore.
Well, I think I just saw the Knicks and the 76ers not like each other very much.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Wait. I actually... Who doesn't like each other? Like, what's the rivalry?
Embiid versus everybody.
Oh, Embiid was playing dirty. I understand. But it wasn't like... First of all, half the guys on the Knicks are from Villanova. There's no... What's the other? Yeah, Embiid played dirty, but that didn't strike me as, oh, man, these guys hate each other. You think Jalen Brunson's not friends with all the...
everybody.
Honestly, I think a lot of the Sixers would have rather had Jalen Brunson on their team than Joel Embiid by the end of the series.
I mean, that might be true, but I do think... You don't think that there's, like, true rivalries and stuff anymore. I still think there is. I think even if you went to... Let's just get away from team sports for a second. Let's go to the individual sports. I mean, I think that you had a major rivalry going on between Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. I mean, that got really personal. That got heated when Live Golf came onto the scene. I mean, there's a whole lot more there, but I think that was personal. I think that was real beef.
Oh, I don't know because we're talking about sports and on the field. Obviously, for years there was the Tiger versus Phil thing, but unfortunately, it wasn't a rivalry because Tiger destroyed him. So. That actually did not work out in a Jack Nicklaus, Arnie Palmer kind of way. So now I think you need competition at the highest level and real hatred. And I just don't think you have it. And you know who I blame?
Who's that?
LeBron James.
Why?
Because LeBron James is the godfather of this league. He's friends with everybody. He's running everything. He has everyone signed up to his shoe deal. He's making movies with these guys. Honestly, I think LeBron reached way beyond his team and is like, I'm going to take everybody under my wing. Feels like he's the opposite of Kobe. Kobe kept to himself, was sort of later in his career became a mentor to young guys, but practice alone.
Like Kobe and Shaq on his own team, they had major beef.
Kobe would not practice with other NBA players in the offseason because he didn't want them to see his moves. Like LeBron feels like he is part of everybody's team. Like he's friends with everybody. He's mentored the guys. He's in business deals with guys. So I think he, in part, killed the rivalries.
Nah, see, it's funny because I know that one of the great rivalries was always Magic and Larry and how much it helped the NBA, but who is the more gregarious person in this world than Magic Johnson? I mean, you're talking about LeBron James wants to be friends with everybody. Magic literally is like the smile that, lit up the league. See, that's the
Magic
thing.
was a killer.
They're all killers. You
Not
don't
LeBron.
give them credit for that.
LeBron is friends with everybody. LeBron is a people pleaser, which is ironic because he's the best player, like second best player of all time. No, I do not think LeBron generates individual rivalries. I don't think that's his style at all. I think he's a way different vibe.
855-212-4CB. Oh, excuse me. 855-212-4227. Been a while since I did that. Are there true rivalries right now in sports? Or do you think everyone's just too good of friends with each other and you don't see the true hatred? Now, this is stemming from not just the roast last night of Tom Brady, where, got some personal beefs that were brought back to the surface, but also this Kendrick Lamar Drake situation, which is we are not going to break down. However, I wish somebody would. Like, you know how on an NFL pregame show, there's always like 3 guys too many, and 10 people are sitting at a dais. I need that right now for this beef. I wish that they had some kind of round table show that could explain to people like me in a very easy to understand way what is going on between these two.
Well, there's one guy who's sort of the cream is rising to the top. There's one guy who breaks this down who's becoming a huge internet star.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Everyone calls him this guy.
That's basically
there's a cottage industry of explaining this beef to people.
You need to quit your job to figure out what the hell's going on. Everyone's dropping a new song every moment. How could you have a family and a job and still keep up with this thing?
Well, I know EJ knows the details. My daughter Lucy wants to come on the show today to talk about it. It might be she spends 23 hours a day on TikTok.
Yeah.
She knows more details about this beef than she knows about anything. Honestly, if she studied this hard in school, she'd already be graduated. She'd be graduated.
Smartest child in the New York City School District. 855-212-4227. Are there real rivalries in sports now? Eddie is in Arizona, has got one. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
I'm doing well. Love your guys' show.
Oh, thanks.
One rivalry I still think exists is between Patrick Mahomes and Max Crosby.
No doubt.
Patrick kind of leads that, but Max Crosby kind of making a little jazz with the last win and hanging in there in games. So I think that one exists.
But I thought they loved each other. I thought they've come out and praised each other multiple times and said how much respect I have and all that. You think it's fake?
No, off the field respect, but when the whistle's on and the game's going, they battle it out, man. And I think it's true competitiveness right there.
Eddie, I'm with you, and I think they just say that, and thank you for the phone call, I think they just say the nice things because they just don't want it to become like even bigger of a story. But I think Max Crosby and Patrick Mahomes, no doubt. And on the Netflix show, Quarterback, Mahomes is complaining constantly about Crosby, and I think there's something there. And there should be. They're division rivals, too. They play each other twice a year. They should have bad blood.
I understand. It is a rivalry, but they're both such great guys. Like, I guarantee Mahomes will speak at Max Crosby's charity stuff moving forward. And I guarantee they'll be friends after they retire.
But after you retire, that's different.
But I'm talking about real hatred. They do not have real hatred.
Well, Magic and Bird, though, after they retired.
Hate each other now?
Really
there's a whole movie about them getting together. But honestly, like on the field, I don't think you don't get the sense that Max Crosby and Patrick Mahomes really hate each other, do you?
I kind of did. Yeah.
It's first of all, I really think that mutual respect, I don't think it's a line. Because who does not love Max Crosby?
You can respect, but you can also have a rivalry. That's where you and I differ.
Rivalry also has to be two-way. Like the teams have to be close. Like it can't be the Raiders and the Chiefs. You need Magic Bird, for lack of a better term. You need both teams to be really good, right? Like the Raiders, what are they going to do?
Yeah, but I think it works with Crosby and Mahomes. We're talking about are true rivalries in sports now, a la the rap beefs that we're having and stuff like that in pop culture. Because at least Max Crosby and Patrick Mahomes, it's like, I'm coming to get you, his position is such that you can have this rivalry. It's like, my job is to try to get you to the ground. And so it works, even though the Raiders are not nearly as good as the Chiefs.
When I was a kid, Buddy Ryan put out a bounty on the Dallas Cowboys kicker. Like, that's what the NFL used to be. Max Crosby and Patrick Mahomes are probably going to be in commercials together for the next 20 years. This is not hatred. This is not a true rivalry.
How about the Big Easy, who's, where else? New Orleans. Big Easy, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Maggie and Perloff. I just want to go over the rivalry thing. I promise you one thing. I just watched the Great American Race over the weekend, and the guy that lost to the other guy by a nose, I guarantee you that jockey was not cheering for the other one, and the owner and the trainer. That is true rivalry as it gets. It's 150 years old. It was one of the best Kentucky Derbies I've watched in my 48 years. And I just wanted to let y'all know that true rivalry exists there. And if you're down here in the South, I promise you, if you follow LSU, you're not cheering for nobody else. You cheer for SEC, but you do not cheer for other teams when you come up and play LSU. Auburn, Alabama, are you kidding me?
Totally. Big Easy, the fans for sure. I mean, fan rivalries are alive and well. And I'm glad you brought up the Kentucky Derby. Great to talk with you, Big Easy. The fan rivalries we are sometimes a little too intense.
Well, college football team rivalries, big time, still exist. In fact, that might be the last place where rivalries actually exist in this country. But I'll tell you right now, the players, the transfer portal is going to just add to this. Everyone's going to be teammates at a certain point. When Dylan Raiola plays on 6 different college football teams, he's going to play with half the league. So I just think that, again, it's not the players. Yes, Alabama and LSU will hate each other till the end of time. Ohio State, Michigan. But the individuals, not at all. These players are all friends, by the way, now. They all know each other really, really well from camps and things. Like, we saw CJ Stroud and Micah Parsons are doing a buddy comedy.
They are.
They're incredible. And, of course, they're friends because everybody's friends now.
They're on a trip to Tokyo together, CJ Stroud and Micah Parsons. We'll get more into that a little bit later on in the show. Question for you. Are there true rivalries left in sports between the athletes? The fans, we know. There's still people fighting in the stands and all that stuff. We still have all the fan stuff. But between the athletes themselves, do true rivalries exist like what you're watching with Kendrick, Lamar, and Drake, these 2 rappers who are at the top of their game, who have been trading diss tracks for the better part of a week and a half now? How many total songs have we gotten, EJ, out of this
I believe now with Drake dropping again last night, we are up to 6 individual tracks.
Jeez.
And then if you count Like That, which was a featured Kendrick Lamar, which started this whole thing, you're up to 7.
I mean,
it's awesome.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Are we getting these feuds? Are we missing these feuds in sports? You're welcome to weigh in at 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do. See you guys on the phones. We will get into what's going on with this friendship. CJ Stroud, Micah Parsons. Some funny moments yesterday. Pop culture, man. We're having a minute. We'll get to that in just seconds. Sit tight. Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Peter Berardi, he made a prediction. Said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away. Won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Infinity's mice, he's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC, what a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free, he misses Ma. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out, boo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let
15 seconds.
He's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh, make it right.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We have numerous polls out, don't we? We started off the show by asking, can Anthony Edwards be the face of the NBA without winning? I think he's going to win anyway, and definitely going to be the face of the NBA. Maggie says, slow down. Do not anoint yet.
I don't know if you can be the biggest star if you're not the best player.
Well, sure you can.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, AI was probably the biggest star, and he was not the best player.
Yeah, but he did something else. It was a different kind of crossover that Allen Iverson, not his physical crossover like crossing up dudes, but he was like a cultural icon. I don't know if Anthony Edwards is there yet.
Well, I mean, the best player is going to be Jokic for a long time, and he's not going to be the biggest star.
Yep, that's true.
So it's kind of like Tim Duncan style. I think Anthony Edwards, by the way, he's starting to get in some commercials. He's going to get a lot more. And wait till he gets to the Olympics. Oh, my God, it's going to be an Anthony Edwards party. And everyone except Maggie is invited. No, I'm just kidding.
You love Anthony Edwards.
You love Anthony Edwards. I think Wemby is also on that horizon. And then we're debating, is Tom Brady a bad dude because he let everyone tell these jokes about his divorce and how Giselle cheated on him with her jiu-jitsu instructor, and his kids are going to see this. Really tough topic to say, like, as a dad, should he have done this? I have to be honest, I was shocked that Tom Brady let all this happen. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. What's his motivation? I don't still don't totally get it.
Listen, he's now fully crossed over into life after football. I mean, playing, that is. And this is sort of, I think, his entry into just being a famous person, not a famous football player. People use roast for a lot of different things. I did not think Brady was a bad dad for this. I think that you have to teach your kids to laugh at their pain a little bit. Things are going to come up, and it's okay to laugh at it. Now, I don't know if Gisele's necessarily thinking about that this morning, because she definitely was took the butt of the jokes. But they both did. They all did.
The thing is, Tom Brady always likes to brag about how amazing he is as a dad. I don't think he's ever going to do that again, because I think his image as a dad is pretty much over. I don't think that's going to be his thing. Because also, nobody really liked when he was sort of kissing his kid on the belly button. Like, all right, Tom, we know you're a dad. You keep putting it on Facebook. It's cool. Now I think that
it's like every other parent.
I don't think. And the funny thing is, I do think he's probably an amazing dad, but I don't think he's going to present himself as Mr. Father of the Year anymore.
Oh, I mean, but how you present yourself, what are we talking about here, right? I think he definitely will have more time to spend with his kids, that's for sure. But the question was you're walking into a roast. We didn't know the exact jokes they were going to make about Gisele, but that you just went through this divorce and you're dating and you were married to, this really high profile person. Of course the comedians are going to take shots at that. They're comedians. And they did. And Tom got the butt of the jokes, but so did Gisele. I mean, she didn't sign up for the roast, but she definitely got roasted. And so you guys are bringing up the fact that their kids are definitely old enough now to see all of this stuff. So why would you willingly put yourself out there so that the mother of your children is going to be a punchline? And she definitely was. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have an answer?
I say no, just because I think that if you are going to be a famous person, and not that the kids signed up for this, but they just are famous by extension, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. And it's not that it's any less serious or anything like that, but you have to be able to use humor to get you through really tough times.
That sounds great in theory. Hey, let's 20 million people laugh at the fact that mom cheated on dad. There's no laughing at that if you're a kid.
I also think he had to run this by her. I don't think that he can say, I don't think he can say after the fact, hey, the first press release goes out and he goes, by the way, I'm going to do this roast. I think he has to run it by not only his ex-wife, I think he also has to run it by his kids. Hey, do you mind if I get roasted?
But when you say run it by, I think even that is a little vague. Could he have said,
get approval from?
There's going to be a roast and they're going to make some jokes about us. And I think, in theory, maybe that happened and Joe's like, all right, whatever. Does he go into detail saying, hey, anything that's out there regarding how we broke up is going to be on the line. I've not given them a red line not to cross that. Like I told them with Robert Kraft, hey, don't cross that.
And they crossed it anyway.
Right, but he went up there and said, hey, don't do that again. And no one else really was going down the massage parlor lane anymore. Right. So did he tell her that? Did he tell her, hey, you and the jiu-jitsu guy are all on the table? I cannot imagine if that's the case that Gisele either A, liked it or approved.
No, definitely not. But here's the thing. You can't also sign up for a roast and be like, you can't say this, you can't say this. Now, there were no jokes about his kids. There were none, as far as I saw. And there was definitely that photo of the kid, that one where Dave Portnoy got in trouble for talking about Brady's kid because he was not wearing a bathing suit on the beach when he was a small child. There were other things that were technically part of the public record that maybe they could have said something about the kids, and they definitely didn't. But they went after Gisele, not gone after. By the way, she was the butt of jokes, just like he was. I think he had to get I think he went to his kids and said, if you don't want me to do this, I won't do it. Now, did they think, do I really have a choice here? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, my parents do stuff all the time without asking me whether I think it's okay. I do not think he talked about this.
Do you think he regrets this today then?
Yes, I think he does.
I'll go a step further.
That's the better question.
I will guarantee you he did not tell Gisele. Why? Did you tell me, how does Gisele approve? What's the conversation going?
She would not have approved it.
There's no way that Tom Brady said, Gisele Bunchkin, we're going to have this roast and you're going to be open fodder. It's impossible that conversation happened.
Well, again, if you are going to co-parent, don't you have to tell the other person,
hey, I'm
putting our personal life is going to be out there for public fodder. I mean, it already is. These comedians can make this joke any time of the day if they want to. They like the ones who made the really biting jokes, the really funny ones, like the Nikki Glazers. She does stand up every night, probably.
Yeah, but nobody's paying attention to a Tom Brady joke out of context when it's all the focus is on Tom Brady. It's a much different thing. And I know some co-parenting situations, and if you think that any of them are healthy, I don't know.
Tough.
That's not the real world.
It's very, very
That's what I was
tough.
going to say. I think the assumption that because they may co-parent well, that their relationship is good is two totally different things.
No, but you're right, totally. But we're talking about the Tom Brady roast last night where they took a lot of shots at Giselle. And so was this the wrong thing? Is Brady kind of a bad dad for doing this and agreeing to it, knowing that the mother of his children is going to be up there getting roasted also? She wasn't there, but she definitely got roasted too.
I know if I was Giselle, I'd say whatever check you got for this, I want some of that. I'm not saying he's going to get it, but she took the worst shrapnel from this thing was for her.
Yeah, she's a joke now. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, I think her career is going to be hurt by this.
Because I guarantee you Tom Brady didn't say, hey, here's a cut of this. I guarantee you that didn't happen.
If I was Brady, I would say, I'll see your ass in court. You want a cut of this?
Oh, I agree, and I don't think he should give her any. I'm just saying, though, if I was her, there's no way you're going to say, I signed up for a roast, and yet I'm the one that's getting called this crazy adulterer.
So do you think that Brady's a bad guy?
I think that this was in poor taste. If you didn't say, hey,
he cheated on
Giselle alone, this was in poor taste.
I'm sorry, no. She cheated on him. She does not get the benefit of the doubt.
Okay,
And
but
she-
again, well, that's the other part. Also,
everybody thinks that, right?
okay, but see, that was also, they were going off of headlines that happened. We don't know when the relationship really, see, we don't know, like, when did they really separate? When did the relationship really fall apart? But I don't think,
everyone on that day seemed to know.
but they're comedians. Like, they're going to use whatever's in the public eye or whatever's in public record, they're going to use to make fun of him.
Did Perloff just say dais?
That's a dais,
Everybody
right?
on the dais.
What do you call it? They used the word dais last night.
Yeah.
That's not an SAT word. Get out of here, Pat.
Yeah.
Get out of here. That was an appropriately.
That's the Dartmouth coming out.
We're not talking about the fact that I went to Dartmouth or any Ivy League college anymore. That is off the record.
Yeah, no, Ivy League's not exactly having an awesome moment right now.
Yeah,
either.
but I do think that Giselle really came out looking bad this one, and I don't think if
by
they did
no fault of her own.
I don't know.
She didn't ask to be roasted.
The funny thing is, it reminds me a little bit of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. They broke up, and it's just going bad. It still comes. I mean, Brad Pitt looks very abusive in this situation. Like, there's a lot of bad that comes out of divorces. I think this is spiraling, and there's going to be more and more. And I don't think Giselle looked good. I don't think Brady looked great in that aspect.
Okay, but then you have to think Brady's a bad guy because he's the one who voluntarily put himself out there for this. People may have been making fun of them, and comedians might be doing jokes about it. But to your point, there was not a laser focus on it because Nikki Glazer can tell a joke about Giselle cheating on Tom. Tom's not in the audience. Like, it does change it. You have to, if you disapprove of this, then you have to disapprove of Brady. That's how this argument would work. Because he's the one who decided to do it.
What if we know, say hypothetically, we know Giselle did cheat on Brady, and as far as we know, Brady didn't cheat on her. Sounds
come on,
a little far fetched. But say that was the case, then can you actually say Tom Brady's the bad guy here?
Yes, because, well, for you got your argument. I don't think so. I think you teach kids to laugh at your pain. But you guys would say yes, because even if he's feeling hurt, he put the mother of his children out there to get roasted when she didn't ask for that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I agree with Maggie. Here's a better question to peel it back one further layer. Do you think Brady cares? Do you think he cares about being a bad guy?
I think he's mad at her, and I think that's what part of this was.
Yeah, I think it's all about Brady. It's all about him.
It's tough. It's tough to be in a divorce.
All about him.
You could tell from everything he's done. It's all about him. Going back to the NFL, when he retired, how he retired, what he's doing now.
He says it. He says he's
him.
self-selfish. He said that. You know,
Yeah,
I've had to be selfish to be this good.
He did not give a damn about his family with this whole thing because look at how he got upset about the Robert Kraft joke. Jumped at that, but didn't say anything about anything else.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, he did. Curious to hear from you. 855-212-4227. You think less of Brady now? Do you think Brady cares? Was this just all about his ego, his vanity, and didn't care that the mother of his kids got totally railroaded in this one? You got to expect that.
But you say
had
Tom
to
Brady's all
expect
about
it.
me. Like, Tom Brady, I'm sorry. Like, have you ever met anyone who didn't like Tom Brady? Like, because you met him one-on-one? He's a good dude, I think. He seems like a nice man.
We don't know these people.
I got to tell you.
We don't know these people.
Just find a single person who's had a bad interaction with Tom Brady. I have never met anyone.
It doesn't.
I met a lot of people who
That's
have
not
met
being married to him for 11 years.
Right. I wish I had 5 kids just like him. But he did that to his family, and that doesn't sit well with me.
Well, maybe she did this to his family. Maybe Giselle did her.
She's the same. She's the same in the same boat, too.
It's funny you mentioned that, Pearl, because I was talking to my girlfriend about the fact that this was happening, that Brady did not seem like he was having that great a time, at least in the beginning. And she's like, well, of course, he's a narcissist. And I said, well, why would you say that? What has he done? His teammates didn't like himself. It's like, well, didn't he go back to football and basically ruin his family for that? Like, I think there are people who look at that decision alone and say that guy's a bad guy. He went back, as one of the comedians said, to go 8-9. I think Kevin Hart said it.
Yeah. That's a bad guy to go back to football?
He lost his family over it.
See, I always think that there's never one thing.
Well, a lot of people think that way, Pearl.
A lot of people think that he went back and that was it. They think the jiu-jitsu instructor was it. If you've ever been around anyone who's gotten divorced, you know it's a lot of things. It's never one, especially if you've been married that long.
Michael Jordan went back, and he was a terrible family man. Actually, that's a bad example.
And then they got divorced.
But that being said, if he's a narcissist, he is the ultimate team for a superstar. And it just feels weird to me that he's a narcissist when he was in practice acting like one of the dudes for 20 years.
I'll tell you this.
That feels weird to me.
It could be weird, but it's not the first time we see a player in the locker room and with their teammates being one way, and then how they are off the field and with their family being a whole different way.
Yeah,
but
there was another Patriots part of this where I got before why people would say it was really not fun to play for the Patriots. And this was probably the most fun those guys have had together, and it still seemed not that fun to me. But anyway, Pat is here. Pat Boyle has headlines for us. You guys are welcome to weigh in. You think less of Tom Brady for putting himself out there and by extension his family out there to get roasted by a bunch of professional comedians. Pat, what do you have for us?
Yes, I would just really quickly, I'd say the biggest lesson that we've learned out of all this, you want to take Tom Brady's wife, learn jiu-jitsu.
That's
and have
a
a
must.
six-pack.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Heading into Game 7 yesterday, the Cleveland Cavaliers had not won a playoff series since LeBron's final season back in 2018. Without LeBron James, you had to go all the way back to 1993 for the last time the Cavs won a playoff series. Well, that changed yesterday.
Donovan out on the floor to begin the fourth quarter. Mitchell, long three. Bullseye! Donovan Mitchell in between the circles. Hit it from Kirkland. Donovan has 35.
Cavs radio, that's right. Donovan Mitchell took over in the second half, finished with 39 points and 9 rebounds. Cleveland came back from an 18-point first-half deficit to eliminate the Magic 106-94. The Cavs started out 0 for 9 from deep. At one point, they had 20 points midway through the second quarter. Then they completely flipped the script, outscoring Orlando 63-41 in the second half. Head coach J.B. Bickerstaff after the game on where this win ranks for him.
You know, for this group in particular who's been through so much this year, a group who's been, left for dead multiple times by a lot of people this year, for them to come together in this moment and figure it out, it's more about the group than it is, me.
I think they're still left for dead considering they're now on to play the Celtics.
This is what they wanted, though, right? They wanted this side of the bracket.
Understand. Do people not learn? You had the Nets fans a couple of years ago chanting, "We want Boston," then they got destroyed. You had Cleveland fans chanting, "We want Boston." They're going to get destroyed. Like,
and
cool,
also,
you could score 20 points in the first 18 minutes of the game and still beat Orlando. Good luck against Boston.
Yeah, but does it matter when you lose, though? Sorry, EJ.
No. Yeah, I mean, does it matter when you lose? I don't think it does. Not for them. Because I think that Donovan Mitchell was traded there for them to compete for a title. That was the goal, that he was going to be the guy that puts them really close. So, I mean, losing to the Celtics, I don't know.
Here's the other part about the Celtics. The Celtics have to own that part of it because the Celtics should have probably won at least a title by now, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And the fact that they haven't.
How?
They should have beat the Warriors 2 years ago.
They had a lead in the Warriors.
I mean,
okay. They went to the finals last year.
They had a lead in the series. They definitely should have beaten the Heat last year.
They should have beaten the Heat last year, but they were not going to beat the Nuggets last year.
They might not have, but I think that this is where, even after the Celtics lost that one game to Miami, when Miami hit the barrage of threes in this playoffs, people are like, I don't know, is the door cracked open? Is it going to get in their heads? I don't think people believe that Boston is the sure thing that they should be, considering how good of a regular season they had and how talented a team they have. I think people believe they're sort of mentally, you can sort of get at them mentally.
Well, I don't think that they're overwhelmingly talented either. I think they're talented, but they're not, obviously, like, look at their front court compared to Denver's or Minnesota's. I just don't think that
the Celtics?
I don't think they're overwhelming people with talent.
I totally disagree with that.
Jaylen Brown's the highest paid player in the league, and Jason Tatum is an MVP candidate, and Porzingis, when he's healthy, is the original unicorn.
Now you're immediately into fiction.
I'm just saying.
He's played great for them for most of the season.
Well, I mean, honestly, okay, is anyone taking Jalen and Jason over, say, Jamal Murray and Jokic? Like, that's a different, it's like class down.
That's the best duo. And
yeah, Jalen Brown, come on.
No.
Sure, you're not counting turnovers in this discussion?
I'm saying Jokic and Murray are the best duo arguably in the NBA.
Yeah,
so to put that at the bar is really high.
Luka and Kyrie?
A lot of people would take Tatum and Brown over Luka and Kyrie.
They've done a lot more.
There's two sides of the court. There's offense and then there's defense. And Tatum and Brown are excellent defenders.
I'll tell you right now why this Boston team is different. It's not Kristaps Porzingis. It's Drew Holiday, and that is the difference. That's why they're great now.
Yep.
And Derek White gets better every
and Derek White can't miss a shot. You're right. That's
what I mean when you say they aren't overwhelming people with talent. That's why I don't see that.
But it's Derek White. He's a sort of a journeyman in a sense. Like
he's only played on two teams.
And he got traded for a first-round pick. I mean, he's not a nobody. Right. And he was on the finals team.
But we're not talking 80s Lakers with Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy. Derek White, is that what you're saying?
They have four guys who have been all-stars in their starting lineup. Oh, five.
Right, but so do all the other contenders.
You think Al Horford's going to be a Hall of Famer? Remember
Al
that?
Horford's 125 years old. Wait, you're saying
perfect to wheel him into the Hall of Fame.
You're saying there aren't other teams? There's plenty of teams with four all-stars.
They're currently playing right now?
How many did the T-Wolves have?
Denver only had
two.
one.
One, actually, sorry. Gordon and Murray have never been an all-star.
Gordon's never been an all-star?
No.
All right, regardless. T-Wolves, how many do they have?
3.
That's
well, 4, I guess, if you count Conley, who made it as a replacement 1 year.
Suns.
Not playing.
On the beach.
Cancun.
But it's funny. You guys think like the Celtics are so much like physically more talented?
I think they're the best 3-point shooting team probably in the NBA.
And they led wire to wire this year
in
the Eastern Conference.
I'm not counting KP as part of this conversation.
Well, there's a good chance he doesn't play at all this series. So hopefully Jared Allen, Mr. Softy himself, can wake up and step back on the floor and actually give them a run for their money. Anyway, valiant effort in the loss for the second-year stud Paolo Banchero, 38 points, 16 rebounds. How about this for his first playoffs? He averaged 27, 9, and 4 on 46% shooting. And maybe if Franz Wagner wasn't, here you go, Perloff, here's some German for you, Einsitzlich yesterday. That means terrible in German. If he wasn't terrible, 1 for 15 from the field, maybe Orlando could have held on. On the ice, Game 7 last night in the Big D. Hey, at least somebody in Dallas can win playoff games. The Stars eliminate the reigning Cup champion Golden Knights with a 2-1 win. Radek Faksa with the game winner just inside the first minute in the third period. Second round underway in the Eastern Conference. Rangers took Game 1 at the Garden over the Hurricanes, 4-3 the final. Really quickly, baseball, the massive trade to start the weekend. 2-time batting champion Luis Araez goes from the Marlins to the Padres. Miami got 4 prospects in return, plus they're paying almost all of the $10.6 million of Araez's salary. Then on Saturday, he became the first Padre with 4 hits in his debut. But Friday, hours before he was officially traded, he was in Oakland still as a member of the Marlins, and he just decided to sit in front of the on-field pregame camera that they had set up on Bally Sports, and he conducted an interview. The person interviewing Luis Araez? Luis Araez.
I'm Luis Araez. I play for the Miami Marlins, thanks too much. Yeah, I just waiting here for my teammates, and then I just need to go inside and then prepare my mind and be ready for the game. Oh, what a question, yeah. I just enjoy my life. Baseball is hard, so I just got to enjoy my life, enjoy my game, and support my teammates,
How about that?
I love it.
That went on, by the way, for about 2 minutes.
That's some good improv right there, even with a great question in his head.
But later on in the clip, he was like, wait, what was that? Oh, yeah. It was so good.
The Marlins, by the way, 10-26 on the season. They've only been to the playoffs twice in the last 21 years. One of the pitchers they got back in that trade Woosuk-Go. I heard they're planning on renaming the franchise.
Pat, thank you.
I'll tell you, the Marlins, that's another team. I am volunteering to run their organization for free for a year.
Listen,
couldn't do it.
They got rid of Kim Ng. What do you think's going to happen? All that talent leaves the building.
That's right. Exactly.
Had a good woman in the building.
Yep.
Let her go.
They blew it.
Did they? 855-212-4227. All right, got a couple things out there for you. Are there rivalries, true rivalries, left in sports? This is off of Drake and Kendrick Lamar with the ever nonstop, never-ending rap beef that exists right now. Do we have anything even close to that in sports right now? Perloff says no. I say yes. Also, Tom Brady roasted last night live on Netflix. But he wasn't the only one who was the butt of jokes. It was Brady. It was Giselle as well. So is he a bad guy because the mother of his children was really left out to dry? Okay, 855-212-4227. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Peter Blatty, he made a prediction, said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away, won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay.
Napa Silent Garden?
He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Blatty, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen, your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold.
Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio talking about the game, Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan, it's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Manny and EJ, they lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shot. They can't believe what they're in for. Manny and EJ.
Believe Blatty's got something to say. Infinity's mice, he's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC, what a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Blatty is getting upset. Maggie Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free, he misses more. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out boo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right. Blatty's got something to say. Infinity's mice, he's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame, just
running through the end zone, touchdown the field. Bills and Eagles, yeah, we never gonna yield. Stats and insights, we the legends of the game.
Maddie and EJ, bleary eyed and rough. Next took a shot like in that 8 morning cough. Philly cheesesteaks haunt their dreams like a greasy ghost. Perloff's my voice on the radio.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Mornings here on the Infinity Sports Network. It was a big pop culture weekend. Sort of culminated last night with Tom Brady getting roasted on Netflix live. The jokes were biting. Not just about him, but everyone in his orbit got roasted. Alex Guerrero, his famous trainer, even his sisters. I mean, whew.
I mean, everybody on
Giselle.
stage got killed, which is funny. I guess I don't want to roast. I can't imagine being up
Couldn't
there.
handle it?
Oh, no, not even close. To have the smartest comedians in the world rip me apart. No, thanks. I'm good.
It shows that you can laugh at yourself, but then you're right. Everyone else around you also ends up taking a couple shots because the comedians need fodder for all of that. So we're asking, do you think differently of Brady now? Because he put his family sort of out there as like to be the butt of a joke. And while nobody made fun of his kids, they made fun of the mother of his kids. Tara's in Idaho. Good morning, Tara. How are you?
Hi. First time caller, long time listener. I'm from Iowa, but, it's all good.
Oh, sorry. It says Idaho on my call screener. EJ apologizes.
That's okay. So what I want to say is I think that Tom Brady is entitled to do the roast show that he had last night. I thought it was funny. As a female who watches sports all across the board, I just want to be able to give my opinion on the female side of things.
Sure.
And I definitely think that that's fair game. I mean, they are public figures. So whatever Giselle and Tom Brady had going on, I think that's their business. Just like anybody else who's famous, it's all fair game. So I don't think it should be held accountable. I don't think it should be held against him. He still was great at the sport, like Perloff is saying. Everybody who's a teammate or
Tara,
whoever
what do you
runs
think,
the
though,
team
about the fact that Brady's the one who agreed to be roasted, but Giselle's the one who got also a lot of the shrapnel? She didn't agree to anything.
I mean, that's all fair game. She shouldn't have been out with the jiu-jitsu right there.
Yes.
Don't have a reason to get roasted.
Yes, I totally agree.
Man, I'd love to put, Tara, thank you. I'd love to put, and thank you for the phone call. I'd love to put Tom Brady under, the lie detector test. See what really happened with the relationship.
You keep saying Brady. Why do you just assume Brady cheated on her? Because he's an incredibly good-looking man and a pro athlete? Is this where we think of the good-looking men like myself? I don't cheat on my wife.
And Tom Brady looked alike.
Yes.
I would just say this. I have no idea. I have no idea, but that there's never one thing that leads to a divorce.
Right.
And it takes two to tango. Unless someone really wrongs somebody.
So wait, if a man cheats on a woman, are you saying the same thing?
No, I just think that when you're married for 11 years,
Yeah.
I do think that there's probably a lot of things that contribute to that marriage falling apart.
So right. So if a dude cheats on his wife famously, you're like, well, there were probably a lot of things. No, of course you don't think that. Come on.
I don't know what to think. I guess I have no problem with the Brady roast. I have no problem with it. And I think that it does teach yourself, it teaches you, your kids, everybody to sort of laugh at the toughest moments. But again, that's a decision that Brady is making for them, and I can understand why people would have an issue with it.
I think Brady, part of his motivation was to prove he's one of the guys. And because I don't think Brady was a traditional locker room guy. I don't know if this is true, but Gronkowski said he's never done a shot with Brady.
Never had a drink with him.
Because I think Brady was famously good at chugging beer early in his career, but then he shut it down and went to all avocado ice cream and everything. And I think he wants to set up this Fox career as like, hey, I'm a normal dude. I'm not this weirdo that you see out there sometimes with all the TB12 stuff. I think this was to normalize him, get him ready for his broadcasting career.
That makes sense.
He's clearly not a normal guy. He's Tom Brady. I mean, he's on a different level. It's funny too. I thought he was awfully stiff. He did the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning was right before him. That's a bad idea to follow Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's comic timing is unbelievable. And Brady was he's reading the lines. he is not as comfortable in this realm. I didn't think he was delivering that well.
Well, but that doesn't mean he won't be a good broadcaster. I think he will be a good broadcaster. I think he's actually going to be critical, which is really what you want. You know, you want the broadcasters to heap the praise when it's deserved, but also be critical when
But will he be funny and interesting, though? It's more than being critical. Like, will he be likable, like Charles is?
Yeah, I think that he has charisma. I do. I mean, Charles Barkley, that's a totally different thing.
Got it.
He's been doing games, not doing studio. But no, I think Brady has charisma, clearly.
I didn't see it last night, but I hope so. That'd be really fun. I think he's going to be a little dry.
855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. Coming up, meanwhile, while everyone's focused in on Tom Brady's roast, is there another athlete who could be making a comeback? Get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Maggie and Perloff.
Pop culture crossing over into sports. It was happening over the weekend. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Two big things happened, Perloff. Last night, Tom Brady got roasted on Netflix. It was a who's who of not only athletes, but comedians, actors. Everyone showed up to get their licks in on Tom Brady.
Yeah, I wish. Did you want to be there? It seemed kind of fun. You got a lot of our buddy Rich Eisen was in the crowd a lot. John Feidelberg from Barstool got one of the key shots right before Tom Brady's cousin Sal. Everybody was there. Jim Gaffigan was in the front row. It was crazy how many stars were there to me and how many A-list stars.
Listen, it's Tom Brady. Of course, they're going to sell out the Forum. And what happened is like any roast, it's not just the person who's getting roasted who takes the shrapnel. Everyone around you gets made fun of. And for Brady, a lot of the jokes were about his divorce from Giselle. Yep. So we started asking the question, Brady kind of knows you're going to put yourself out there and you know that the comedians are going to go after your divorce from this very famous supermodel. Did he do the right thing? Because that's the mother of his children, and she took a lot of jokes. I mean, I'm sure she didn't think they were very funny, but a lot of them about, this relationship with the jiu-jitsu instructor that was all over, the celebrity gossip sites and all of that. It put her in a bad light.
Also, Drew Bledsoe, Mr. Nice Guy from Washington State, he even made a joke about how he's still married and Tom can't do that.
Yep.
Bledsoe, kind of the star of the night in a funny way. It was a co-roast of Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady.
Yep.
People who probably don't even remember Drew Bledsoe playing were laughing at him last night. Yeah, no, I think Tom Brady, he regretted the Giselle jokes. I don't think he cared at all about the Aaron Hernandez jokes, for example. Aaron Hernandez is no longer with us.
Yep.
There's no repercussions to that. I feel like he walked away and said, this is not ideal.
See, I take the other way. I think he had to understand what he was walking into. This is not the first roast that ever happened in history. You know that the comedians are going to get very personal. And I think he probably at least gave his kids certainly a heads up that this was going to happen.
Wait,
you have to. You can't just go in and say, all right, daddy's going to do this thing. I'll see you next Thursday, and not say anything like, hey, I'm putting our family out there. There might be some jokes, but we're just all going to laugh about it.
I am almost certain he did not have that conversation, because how do you have that conversation? How do you pull aside your 13-year-old kid and say, hey, we're making some jokes and some of them might be about your mom? That's an impossible thing to say to a kid. I'm sure that he's going to apologize later. There's no way he preemptively said this is what's going to happen. That did not happen,
I think you would have to if you're Brady, because if it's the other way where the kids have either no idea this is coming or they're not sure how personal it's going to get about their mother, is there any amount of apologizing for that could get him in serious hot water with his kids, and that's the last place that any parent would want to be. And so I think for Tom, you would have to have maybe even said to Giselle, hey, I'm doing this. I mean, you are co-parenting. I know not everybody's relationship, with your ex is the same, but you think you'd want to say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm putting us out there so that nobody's blindsided by how personal some of the jokes got.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that. Maybe you're right. I think that he definitely did not call Giselle Because, again, an impossible conversation to have.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have told her this was happening, but they probably did not understand the depth of this.
Okay,
you
but
sure
Brady-
that Tom Brady understood everything that was going to happen here?
I'm not letting him off the hook like that. By the way, I have no problem with him doing it. I think it's better to laugh at your own pain and be able to laugh at yourself. And I think that's a good skill for not only adults, but even for kids to have. But I get why people are feeling, a certain type of way. Brady can't be naive about this. He couldn't have gone in and said, I thought they were just going to, make fun of my... Deflategate, losing to Eli Manning? I mean, come on. The guy's a full-grown adult who's been famous now for 25 years. You have to know what a roast is going to entail. They're not going to take it easy on you. That's the whole point. And to think you can control it is even more of a narcissistic move if that's really what Brady's dealing with here, because you're not going to be able to control what Nikki Glazer says. She's a professional comedian. You can't control what Kill Tony says or what Andrew Schultz says. These people are out here traveling and touring the world with their comedy. It's like stepping up in weight class. This is like, Brady going to a JV field and taking on some kids playing football. That's what the comedians are doing. When you roast somebody, they're at the top of their game.
All that being said, I just don't think Tom Brady understood all the jokes about his wife cheating on him. I just don't think he knew that was coming in exactly the way it came.
He probably thought there was divorce jokes coming.
Yeah.
I think it's very different.
It was immediate too.
Right. I think divorce jokes compared to cheating jokes with kids kids are involved.
Yeah.
I think it's different.
And by the way,
it was all over. Every gossip site had her and the jiu-jitsu instructor. This is not like it was, someone was talking out of turn here. All of that stuff made its way to the public.
Well, you seem super confident about this, that it was all above board and that they're best friends now.
I'll tell you one thing.
I don't think you're right at all.
I'll tell you one thing. Giselle can get her lick back. Guaranteed.
I don't know.
Oh, that's going to happen. Wait till you see the page 6 report. Tom Brady did X, Y, and Z in 2015. That lick is coming.
Well, maybe,
I guarantee you that.
Maybe that, because she might be sick. So say there was other infidelity or whatever, she might be like, listen, if there was anything else in their past, that might come out now. EJ, you might be right about that.
Yeah.
I thought you might get a lick in funny.
No, she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do a roast herself or anything.
No,
she may do a maybe funny Instagram caption or something to kind of preview what may be coming. But that lick's coming back. We're gonna hear some page 6 or TMZ thing. It's gonna drop about something Tom Brady did. And this is gonna be absolute payback for what happened last night.
Man, did Tom just start a civil war, even more than there was probably, just going through a divorce?
You're saying they're successful co-parenters. I don't think they are after last night. I mean, maybe they fake it and get along. I think this is definitely gonna have repercussions. I don't know if this for a fact, but the way that was all presented yesterday, you can make a case that they parent through mediaries, where a representative for her and for him talk. I mean, I actually suspected their marriage probably wasn't what we thought it was when this whole thing happened. It probably was dissolving for years.
Exactly. Right. There's never, usually there's not, if you're married for 11 years, it's usually not one thing that straw that breaks the camel's back.
Right, but a public affair is bad for celebrities. They never want that. I mean, that's just not the way you want it. And one of the great couples of all time, you think of Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio, you think of now Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce or whatever, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Ending in an affair is the worst possible outcome for a celebrity couple. Honestly, it's better to have a terrible alcoholism or something. An affair is bad. It's way better.
Ranking what's worse.
Way better for a guy to have a drug problem and just leave.
Okay, but we're also talking about the kids, right? And I think that's where I know Bilotti had an issue. Mm-hmm. I think there's been I don't have an issue with it because, again, I think you teach people to laugh at their pain. I think laughter helps you get through a lot of really tough moments, and I think that's a good lesson to tell your kids. But I'm not being naive here. I think you guys are. Brady knew that these, not specifically what jokes were coming, but he had to know that every part of his divorce was going to get dissected here. It was a 3-hour comedy roast of him. It wasn't all going to be, again, Spygate stuff.
Yeah, no, you're right. It probably was thinking about the kids. Let's teach them a lesson here. So we're going to have Nikki Glazer telling CTE jokes about my private parts. Get out of here. This was not for the kids in any possible way. First of all, I hope the kids didn't even understand half of what was going on. It was so adult, but as all good roasts are. But no, I don't think this was. I'm going to teach you a lesson on how to laugh at yourself. Get out of here. These are kids.
Well, then you have to think Tom Brady is the worst guy ever because
I blame Giselle.
You have to.
I'm on Team Tom.
How do you blame Giselle for someone making fun of her?
She slept with her jiu-jitsu instructor. What a cliche that is. You're a Brazilian supermodel sleeping with a jiu-jitsu instructor? Really? You're going to go down that road, Giselle?
I don't know.
That old road?
I don't know if we have all the facts there. 855-212-4227. Some timelines are a little blurry. Let's go to Kevin. He's in Oregon, wants to weigh in on the Tom Brady roast. Good morning, Kev.
Yeah, good morning. I think whatever heat she took, she deserved for her infidelity. And I speak from experience because I found out when my son was 15 years old that he wasn't my son. My wife fessed up. And I got to tell you, if I had the opportunity to roast her, I would have done it gladly. So I think she deserved what she got.
Wow, Kevin. I mean, that's a major one. That's a big life-changing moment for you.
Yeah, that's okay though. It's better to find out then than on my deathbed.
Was it?
Hey, I don't want you to think I'm bitter. It's not that I hate the woman or anything. But anyway, I think she got what she deserved.
Kevin, can I just ask you, how'd you find this out? She came clean or something happened?
A friend of my son's told him he looked just like his father. And
no way.
My son went to my ex-wife and said, "Is John my father?" And she broke down and said, "Yeah." And then later that day she told me because he told her that if she didn't tell me, he was going to.
Wow.
He's still my son. I mean, in every way, except for, genetically. But,
well, that's good of you.
I mean, it's a crappy thing. And I think, having gone through that, I think that, whatever heat she gets, she's just going to have to take it. I mean, she played with fire and now she's getting burned.
Man, Kevin, thank you for sharing that with us. And I think the best part of that story is, you found out that news and this is still your son. And I think that's a really important moment there.
The lesson I get out of this, though, is nobody's going to feel sorry for Giselle. First of all, she's Giselle. Like, it's hard to feel sorry for her in any
Someone
possible.
in the public eye.
Also, the fact that maybe they both cheated, who knows? But she got caught cheating. It seems like we don't know for sure. So I don't think she'll ever get the benefit of the doubt. If it was the same situation and the guy had cheated, then they'd never get the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, I guess I just think the timeline, I always thought the timeline was a little bit blurry there, but I think we're talking about whether or not Tom Brady do you think less of him today because he was the one who decided to do this roast, knowing that your personal life is definitely fodder. And whatever they say about his personal life and his divorce, the kids are definitely going to hear about it at some point. It's still the mother of your children. So do you have a problem with Brady putting himself out there? Because you get roasted, but those around you also have to take the hits.
But as a fact, Tom Brady's probably more popular today than he was yesterday. I mean, I think he came off looking great. I think everybody likes Tom Brady more now. Unless you disliked him before.
I don't think Bilotti does. I think he believes that he did a bad thing here because now he's got to answer to his kids.
I'm all for. Look, I'm going to go my personal experience. I've brought up several times on this show about my divorce.
Yeah.
So I just thought that when it involves kids, it's very different. But the roasting part of this I'm glad he did it.
Yeah.
I think it helps. That part of it, I think, helps his personality look a little softer.
Right.
But
the
there's
problem
some things
is
there that didn't work for me.
I get it. And there were a lot of other jokes that totally fell flat. But you can't tell a comedian what to say, right?
If I'm doing this and my name's all over it, I'm saying, look, lay off cheating. I have kids. That's all I would say. I'd say don't do anything like with that and then go ahead. I think you can do that. There's a lot of material there.
Yeah, the cryptocurrency that he lost, obviously people kind of pointing at his good looks.
Yeah, the crypto thing didn't really seem to hurt him, by the way. And
yeah, just a bad investment.
And by the way, crypto's way back, so it's kind of weird. Like, if he held on to some of that, he'd probably be in good shape. Except he was with Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that didn't seem to hurt him. Deflategate didn't bother him. Spygate certainly didn't bother him. I don't think I don't know there were a couple of jokes where they didn't cut to him. I'm like, ooh, that one must have hurt, right? Like, we were all going with the director must have known something. Yeah, I felt like there were a few he cringed. You could feel him cringe.
Like Bridget Moynihan, that's fair.
He didn't like that.
But that's fair. That's fair game.
I know, but he's got a kid with Bridget Moynihan. So if you're saying that it's about the kids and they're the ones who are hurt.
But
and that's the oldest kid, and he definitely would be aware of this.
The dynamic's so different because he cheated on Bridget Moynihan. He was the bad guy in that situation. Giselle, according to reports, is the bad guy in the other situation. That's how it's going to go down until she proves that he cheated on her.
Well,
that's how people are going to remember this one.
As EJ said, get ready. Maybe Giselle's got a diss track waiting in the wings. She
Giselle
called Kendrick.
Kendrick Lamar.
I'd be worried about that.
We'll know how much she knows with how she plays it.
Yeah, but again, she might not want to hurt her kids.
Right.
Because if she doesn't fire back, or say she did have something she could fire back on, but she doesn't want to make him look bad to the children. I don't know. This stuff is messy. Mark's in California. Hey, Mark, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Good morning. Top of the morning.
Top of the morning,
the reason I'm calling is I'm wondering why such a big star like yourself, Maggie, why you would even be concerned about this.
Why I was surprised because I thought it was fun last night and I thought it was funny. Okay. And I was surprised to hear that Bilotti, maybe EJ a little bit too, maybe Perloff thought that this was in bad taste for Brady.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was saying is I've seen a lot of roasts, and I think the best roast I ever think I saw was from the guy Flavor Flav. I mean, when they came on and roasted him, it was hysterical. But
it was really good, Mark.
Some of these roasts are pretty good. I thought last night was so. And as far as Tom Brady, I don't know. He's just a neighborhood guy in the Bay Area, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, just your run-of-the-mill 7-time Super Bowl champion. That guy's just getting milk at the grocery store like everybody else.
I do think what Perloff said, though, is true. I feel like, and I actually thought he may have ruined what Perloff was saying, was that he was going to be seen as a kind of an everyman when he went up there after that Kraft joke. I was like, that's a terrible look. But then he got it back by basically not doing that again.
Right, which is Jeff Ross made a joke about Robert Kraft in the massage parlor, and Brady went up and said, don't say any of that again, sort of. And that was very early in the night.
Yes.
Kind of like, hey, man, you're going to have to go with the flow here. You agreed to the roast. You got to let the comedians do their thing, as opposed to being really, protective over Robert Kraft.
Yeah, you think about Tom Brady. Who doesn't like Tom Brady? Teams that got beat by him. Tom Brady, and they did make fun of this, he did step into politics almost accidentally. So he did I think that's the one thing that some people hold against him, that he was aligned with one party. But generally, though, Tom Brady has not done a lot to make us dislike him. He never really says anything that's obnoxious. He's kind of like he's closer to Peyton Manning to me, sort of an athlete that is universally beloved.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't mean there aren't things in his life that aren't roastable.
Definitely.
And the divorce is probably number one.
Yeah.
Divorcing a famous supermodel.
Famously
didn't get along with his head coach. Had run-ins with Belichick. Famous good looks, famously a winner, Deflategate. There's tons of stuff there to roast Brady on.
I would think big picture, though, the only flaw with Tom Brady is the cheating stuff. Who cares? The divorce is everything. But if you look at his athletic legacy, really, isn't that the only real ding on him? Or the guy never lost. He was incredible. I do like Ron Burgundy, my friend Ron Burgundy, did bring up a good point that I've always said. He was one of the most boring quarterbacks. 6-yard ins forever, except for that one Tom Brady, Randy Moss year. He was slightly boring. He wasn't slinging it all over like Patrick Mahomes. And I'm the only one here you guys always laugh at me when I say Tom Brady was kind of boring.
Well, they called him a system quarterback last night.
Well, basically, the guy was always, his most famous drives are all checkdowns. So I think that he was not a downfield thrower, but that was not a topic last night.
No, that was one of the funnier lines that Randy Moss got off, which was, you guys were cheating before I got there and you cheated after. Yeah. Why couldn't you have cheated when I was there? I would have had a ring.
Yeah. You didn't trust me.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. Question, do you feel differently about Brady? He agreed to be roasted, which means his ex-wife got roasted, which means that's the mother of his kids getting roasted. And did you have a problem with him putting himself out there like that? 855-212-4227. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Roasting Tom Brady, we took it too far. But Maggie don't care, she's a superstar. Said the kids need to learn to laugh at the pain, so we'll keep on joking, no need to explain. We may have crossed the line, but who's to say? Maggie's teaching her children to handle it her way, making light of the struggles, finding joy through the tears. With a sense of humor, they'll conquer their fears. Ha ha ha, let's laugh it off. Put a smile on your face. Ha ha ha, bring on the jokes. No need to keep the pace. We'll turn the pain into laughter. Let it all go. Ha ha ha. Together we can grow. Roasting Tom Brady. Peter Blatty's got something to say about Tom Brady, and a roast on that day. He's angry and he's speaking his mind, saying Brady was out of line. Should've known better, should've thought twice before agreeing to that roast. It ain't right, talking about his ex-wife crossing the line. Peter Blatty says someone needs to find that children shouldn't have to hear all of that. It's not fair to them, it's a matter of fact. Brady, you messed up, it's time to face the truth. Peter Blatty won't forgive you, that's the truth. Let it feel, if I face the truth. Peter Blatty won't forgive you, that's the proof.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Getting pretty heated. I feel like we're almost at celebrity roast level, kind of not animosity, but it's getting pretty intense, this argument over Tom Brady. did Tom Brady screw over his kids by letting all his dirty laundry out there in the celebrity roast last night on Netflix? I think he gets a pass on this, in part because he's a little bit on the victim role of this broken up marriage with Giselle. So nobody's actually, I don't think anyone's going to blame him, which is ironic because who knows what actually happened in this marriage. But I feel like everyone's like, Giselle is the bad guy last night. And if the kids suffer because of this, it's her fault. I honestly think that's like kind of like the vibe out there, because I don't hear, other than us, other people questioning, did Tom Brady do something wrong for his kids?
Listen, I didn't think he did anything wrong either. I think that he also had to have given them the heads up on this. He had to have let his family know, listen, I'm doing this roast and some of these jokes are probably going to get personal. And so that would be the right thing to do, is if you gave your kids the heads up, like, listen, they might make some jokes, and they definitely made a lot of jokes at the expense of Giselle. That's for sure. 855-212-4227. That's the mother of his kids. Also, another question out there for you. The big thing in pop culture right now, feuds, beefs. Not just the roast last night where you had Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick taking a shot together. You had, Tom Brady and Belichick and jokes flying back and forth between the two of them. Belichick saying, people wonder who's more responsible for the dynasty, me or Tom. The answer is it's both of us because of me, which is pretty funny. But we also have this big rap feud that's going on between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and they've now done 7 songs in the matter of a week and a half, just dissing each other back and forth. We were wondering, is there sports rivalries like this at all? Or are all those sports rivalries sort of dead because of, I don't know, guys are friends with each other now, too much money at stake, whatever it is. Chris is in Alabama, wants to weigh in on athlete rivalries. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Yeah, I think you're missing the worldwide debate, Messi, Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but do they dislike each other, or do the people just argue about who's better?
That's a good question, because they're kind of playing on opposite sides of the field, so you don't get as much interaction between the two. But there's heated social media debates between, and anytime I've seen them together, they're not smiling.
Chris, I like it. It is a rivalry. I don't know what their personal relationship is like, but even if you say, I respect the other person, and even publicly, if you say, heap all this praise on them, it doesn't mean behind the scenes you can't have a rivalry. It doesn't mean you're not always keeping tabs on your rival. And I think that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were like that. I think that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow were like that. I think you get a lot of those kinds of rivalries.
Yeah, I feel like it used to be like real rivalries, though, where you would see it play out more. These are more sort of assumed rivalries. Another thing, quarterbacks don't go against quarterbacks, so it's a little hard. Just like Messi and Ronaldo probably don't match up on each other. And also, Messi with the World Cup just kind of ended that rivalry. Nobody's on team. No one's really saying Ronaldo's a better. I'm not a soccer expert, but I know that debate ended. Like, Messi's the GOAT. So, and then kind of Brady and Manning, too. No one's saying Peyton Manning's better than Brady. So, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Magic Bird. I feel like when we were kids, people really hated each other. Now it feels like they have the same agent or the same shoe brand and they're buddies.
All that stuff has been watered down. I think the rivalries still exist. They just don't present themselves as much like they used to. You have some guys who are not afraid to mix it up, like a Pat Beverly or someone like that, who's sort of like Draymond, these guys who sort of their whole reputation is sort of being an agitator. But I do think you have actual rivalries, and just it doesn't make its way necessarily to the public because you don't want your brand to get damaged or whatever, all these silly reasons. Yeah. But I still think that those rivalries exist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Draymond punching Jordan Poole is the same kind of rivalry as a team that was in the same division playing each other for 12 years, and those guys never saw each other in the offseason. It used to be so much different. Just the mechanics of how everything works. I mean, is there an NBA star who isn't good friends with another NBA star? They all know each other really well now. It used to be way different.
Yeah, but just because you know somebody doesn't mean they don't rub you the wrong way. And now you've known somebody maybe since you were like 12, 13. You've all come up together. There's no rivalries there? You don't think there was any bad blood? Do you think when Durant left Oklahoma City and Westbrook was left? I mean, I think there's all types I think this stuff happens all the time.
Well, maybe, but it used to be the team thing too. Like, who are you more loyal to, your team or your shoe brand or your agent? Or you might have more in common with a guy on another team. You might be better friends with a guy on another team than you are with the guys on your own team. I mean, LeBron is famously, who are his guys? They're not his teammates. It's Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony. So I think that guys have just crossed over team lines much more in recent years, which is probably good for the sport, right? Like, they're all buddies. Isn't that what we want? Or?
Well, speaking of that, let's get to our Cowboy Quickie. Put rivalries aside for the moment. We bring you a new budding bromance. That is Cowboys linebacker MICAH Parsons and Houston Texans quarterback CJ Stroud, who are currently on a tour of Asia together. More specifically, Japan. They've been all over the country throwing out first pitches and also taking on sumo wrestlers. With MICAH Parsons taking on a 17-year-old sumo wrestler. Did you not think? I thought he was 38, that sumo wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
He's 17 years old. The video is wild, and this sumo wrestler is just pushing MICAH Parsons around.
Well, MICAH got a lick or two in, but this guy is clearly going to be a great left tackle someday.
You can bring him over. I'm surprised
bring him
nobody
over
has
tomorrow.
tapped into that sumo wrestling community.
When that clip got on social media, I'll bet you 10 GMs called Japan and said, can we get this guy?
17. I mean, you have to go to college. Get him in
right.
Kalen DeBoer call or something. I don't know.
That's a good point. I already advanced it. But you're right. He didn't look 17.
No, that's your Cowboy Quick. Just a little one today.
It's funny. They did the first pitch, CJ Stroud and MICAH Parsons, at this huge venue in Japan. I got to tell you, CJ Stroud didn't know how to throw a baseball. It was bizarre. His delivery was really weird. This great quarterback. MICAH Parsons actually might have better form. But regardless, this is an incredible bromance. They are hysterical together. Did you watch them? They were on the Bleacher Report for the draft. They were really, really funny. I think they're onto something. I don't know what it is. And that's what I'm saying about rivalries. Nobody's surprised that a Houston Texan and Dallas Cowboys are best friends. Like, that's how it works now.
Yeah, I wonder if this would be a little different if they were in the same conference. I don't know if you can bro out like that if you... It seems a little NFC and AFC. Yeah. Like if you're gonna meet, it's gonna be literally in the Super Bowl. That's a totally different thing. I mean, you could play each other regular season, doesn't matter as much. But if you're with any stakes on the line, it's really gonna be all the way at the Super Bowl.
But 30 years ago,
it's a little safer.
30 years ago, when Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen teamed up in a golf match against Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, like, of course, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes would be friends. And, like, there was no thought of, oh, man, we're actual rivals. We don't want to do this. I mean, of course, in today's day and age, everybody's buddies.
Okay, but I don't see Mahomes and Burrow out there playing golf. And I don't see, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see Burrow at Mahomes' charity event either. I think there might be a real rivalry there. Just you don't want to admit it. You don't want to see it.
Well, I mean, listen, there's not a lot of actual evidence that there's real animosity there. And I can't picture those two dudes having real animosity. First of all, Mahomes doesn't seem to care one way or the other. And Burrow's a pretty chill dude, too. I'll tell you another person to blame for this. I'll tell you the single Michael Jordan. The Dream Team sort of changed the way rivalry, like that killed all the rivalries in the NBA. Because then all of a sudden they realized, oh my God, as a whole, we are this gigantic marketing machine. And now, like, LeBron has recruited this Olympic team of his friends from other teams. He doesn't have any rivals. He has future co-conspirators. It's like, these are all LeBron's guys, this team, and it's half the league. There's never really been a KD-LeBron rivalry. They've been really close friends, you can tell. And Steph Curry and LeBron, that should have been a rivalry, but no, they love each other. Yeah, but they still, like, adore each other now. I mean, or at least LeBron loves them.
And it's the public side of this. What was it really like behind the scenes? I think, listen, Steph Curry calls himself the petty king. Why won't we just believe him? You know? He's going night-night on people. Like, we act like Steph Curry just because he's babyface doesn't mean that he's not, he can't have a rival. He's not talking trash.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, 40 years ago or 30 years ago, those guys really would have hated each other. And now we might assume they do, but it's certainly not evidence. And now you cannot possibly say Steph Curry and LeBron are rivals.
See, I think that this is, Perloff and I might see this a little bit different. I always think to become an athlete at the highest level, you have to be a stone cold killer.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how you present yourself publicly. If you don't have that part of you, you would have gotten filtered out of the system at some point. If you aren't a killer, you're not going to be the greatest player on your high school team. You're not going to be the greatest player in your college team. And you're not going to be able to be one of the greatest players on your pro team unless there is something inside of you that wants to beat the other person so badly that you can't sleep if you don't achieve your goal, or you can't live with yourself if you don't achieve your goal. And I think all of these guys have it. And I think it leads to rivalries.
But watch the end of a playoff series. There are 10-minute hugs between guys on different teams. Every single series. There are best friends all over this league. And the players didn't have access to each other back in the day. Now they know each other so well. Even this heated Knicks-Sixers rivalry, I watched after the last game, it was like hug central. Everybody is really close.
Well, you could always, that's because there's such a thing as sportsmanship, even if you have a rival.
I mean, these guys know each other really, really, really well. I mean, especially the Knicks-Sixers, because everybody played at Villanova. But I think these guys are really close friends because of there wasn't AAU when we were kids. Like, well, there was, but now it's like things are much more nationally oriented, and the shoe brands is totally different. You're either an Adidas guy or you're a Nike guy coming up, and LeBron is controlling this whole thing too. He doesn't have any rivals. He's the captain of the NBA. I just don't see it the way you guys do. I think it's much different.
I agree with Maggie. You have to be a killer. That's why OJ was so good.
Yes.
Was LeBron a killer?
Definitely. And so that's the thing.
And who's his rival?
Well, but that's the thing. His rival is Jordan. And he said it. And he said he's chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. He actually took on the biggest rival you could possibly do. Just because they're not playing in the same era, that's not LeBron's fault.
So this is our rivalry. We have rivalries between players and retired players. We don't have 1985 Magic and Larry Bird openly hating each other.
I just disagree with the concept, though, that Steph and LeBron, when they were going back to forth in the finals, that was a rivalry. I think we're playing one quarterback saying, oh, now because they get on each other's podcasts that they're friends.
What did they What did they ever say about each other during that time?
LeBron's business manager is like, Steph Curry doesn't play defense. And LeBron's people kept saying Steph Curry and these three-pointers, you can't say he's the best player in the NBA when he was winning those MVPs. That was being said.
Wasn't there another thing, too, about what they wore to a Halloween party? And there was some kind of costumes that they were wearing that was taking shots at the Warriors, too.
Well, LeBron wore an Ultimate Warrior shirt when they won the championship.
Parade.
I mean,
I think there's stuff there.
Yeah.
And the thing is about shaking someone's hand after a series, I think that's just sportsmanship, A. But two, this already happened, remember, where the Pistons walked off the floor and didn't shake Michael Jordan's hand famously after he finally beat them. I think you end up getting called classless and stuff like that. And it's just easier to shake somebody's hand than have to deal with, getting criticized in the media.
By the way, LeBron is actually agent for half these guys in the NBA. He's literally their agent. I mean, what are we doing here? LeBron is their business manager. He can't be a rival. I'm sorry.
Let's get to Pat. He's got headlines for us. Hello.
All right, another signature Donovan Mitchell moment yesterday. 39 points, 9 rebounds. The Cavaliers trail by as many as 18 points in the second quarter yesterday at home in Game 7, but they stormed back to eliminate the Magic 106-94 and advance to the second round. Spida averaged 29, 5, and 4 for the series. Cleveland's big man Jarrett Allen out again for the third straight game yesterday with a rib injury, so Evan Mobley stepped up with 11 points and 16 boards, and Karis LeVert added 15 off the bench. Here was Mitchell after the game. What was the team's mindset going into the second half when they trailed by 10?
I didn't feel our confidence waver much, even when we had, 20 points in the first quarter, 18 points, something crazy like that, 18 points. Like, I didn't feel the confidence waver, and it can be a lot. They came out, and credit to them, they came out and jumped on us, but, for us to respond the way we did and just keep plugging, keep chipping away.
Yeah, Orlando scored just 41 points in the second half. Paolo Banchero did his job, monster 38 points and 16 rebounds. Not much from anyone else. Franz Wagner, 1 for 15 from the field. Jalen Suggs, 2 for 13. Cleveland now on to Boston for Game 1 tomorrow night. Celtics, by the way, you guys want to guess the price for them to win the series?
Oh, my God.
Here's for reference. They were, at some books, as high as minus 5,000 against the Heat.
So that's...
so $5,000 to win $100.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a
against
bet.
the Heat. What do you think they are
against the Cavs?
Oh, I'm sure it's 25 to 1.
Maybe the same.
No, I've seen anywhere between minus 1,200 and minus 1,800. So
heavy favorite.
About a third of those odds.
That's an indictment on Cleveland, by the way.
Yes,
it really is.
Even without Porzingis, probably won't play a single game in this series, and they are massive favorites.
I mean, indictment. who thought Cleveland was serious?
Well, before the season, Cleveland was expected to be one of the teams. If anybody had a chance to challenge Boston, Cleveland would have been one of the teams.
Yeah, and they were the 2 seed for a couple.
They were 2 seed for a part of the season. I mean, that's ridiculous. 1,200?
Yeah, it is crazy. But we do know what's going on here, right? The West is just a lot better than the East. That's just it.
It's pretty incredible that they got 7 games with that Orlando team. I was a little shocked.
Also
by that.
an indictment. I mean, I thought they were going to lose. I told you on the show I thought they were going to lose. And I was doing victory laps after that first quarter, and then all of a sudden, Donovan Mitchell woke up in the second half. This whole thing is an indictment on Cleveland, which is why I think this thing might get blown up if they get swept, which is probably likely.
Or they hang a banner. Hey, we won a playoff series without LeBron.
I wouldn't bet on it, Pat.
Tonight, second round in the East begins. Game 1 at the Garden. A rivalry renewed. Knicks and Pacers for the first time since 2013. Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle talking about his firsthand knowledge of what playoff hoops are like at MSG.
We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks.
Yes.
We are the New York Knicks.
I'm sorry, Perloff. Wrong cut. Let's try again.
Say go New York, go New York, go.
So weird. Is something wrong with the computer today or something? It seems like every time you go to Rick Carlisle, it's the Knicks song. I know Rick Carlisle played for the Knicks, I think, for about 50 games.
Yeah, here he is.
Okay.
I played a year with the Knicks and was on a playoff team with Rick Pitino in '88, and so I know firsthand what it's like to be a part of that, and so we're looking forward to it.
Now I almost got
bam, you and dunked in your face.
I almost got fished last night. I saw. It was like, I forget what the name of the account. It wasn't a Ball Sack Sports or a Butt Crack Sports, but it was something like that where they falsely attributed a quote to Tyrese Halliburton saying MSG is overrated or something like that. And I was ready to quote tweet, and I was like, hold on. I'm pretty sure it was fake.
Wait,
this is a team you don't want to miss. We are New York. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks.
It's like I'm listening to the song when Perloff does it. Isn't Josh Hart been saying things about Indianapolis?
Yeah, he thinks Indianapolis sucks.
Boring.
Yeah, boring.
He said that in the regular
good donuts,
season.
though, he said.
He's right.
Oh, they got the steakhouse, though. St. Elmo's. That's all you need. That's
all they got, though. Like I saw Romani Jones say, it's bad when you ask everybody about what do you do in Indianapolis. They all say just one thing, St. Elmo's. Not a great.
I like also some nice public art there. The NCAA headquarters.
Yeah, there's a lot of good steakhouses. There's more than one because that's like the beef capital of the country. Anyway,
well, I also think it's the one thing I always thought was a little odd, and I like Indianapolis and spent a lot of time there when we were both with Sports Illustrated. But the St. Elmo's is famous for the steaks, but also the shrimp cocktail.
Yes.
The nearest ocean has got to be 3,000 miles away.
How they do it?
How they're famous for shrimp when they're the most landlocked city in the country. Is a little surprising.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Famous for their fire too.
No.
Sure. Be here all week.
I don't think that Pat knows that joke.
I don't get that one.
You've never heard of St. Elmo's Fire?
Oh yeah,
it's a movie.
There's something that burned down, wasn't it?
It was. I just remember it was a movie. St. Elmo's Fire.
That's what I remember.
With Demi Moore, I think.
Right, and I think Rob Lowe.
And Rob
Lowe rocking the saxophone on the fraternity.
Emilio Estevez also in it.
Wow.
The whole Rat Pack.
So everybody knows that movie except for me. Okay.
Even I knew that one. It's just bad.
You didn't see Goodfellas, but you saw St. Elmo's Fire.
I didn't see it. I knew of it. That's the only thing.
One quick statement to make Knicks fans, Matt. This Pacers-Knicks series, this is a JV playoff series. I am not impressed.
Who's the varsity? The Celtics?
I'm just saying, like, you look at the talent in the West, then you look at this.
What if it was Knicks Bucks?
I mean, you look at the T-Wolves and the Nuggets and the Mavs and the OKC Thunder. There's so much more talent in the West.
Well, Jalen Brunson is better than most of the guys playing on those other teams. So.
He's surrounded by scrubs, though.
Scrubs. Wow.
I don't know about scrubs.
Teams in the West weren't as, and again, I'm not complaining at all as a Knicks fan. Teams in the West didn't have catastrophic injuries to their star players. Like, think about if Embiid was healthy all year. We'd probably get Celtics Sixers second round, and we get Knicks Bucks if Giannis didn't get hurt right before the playoffs started.
Delta's in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. He said, thought Omaha was the beef capital. McLovin.
Oh, whatever. Chicago, obviously the whole thing, Green Bay, Packer, like all the cattle comes through the Midwest. Right? That's why Indianapolis is famous for steakhouses.
Okay.
Not shrimp.
Omaha set. All right, we'll see if we get another encore from Anthony Edwards. Game 2 in Denver tonight. Can the reigning champion Nuggets punch back after losing Game 1 on Saturday, and then really quickly on the ice yesterday, the Stars sent the reigning champs home. They beat Vegas 2-1 in Game 7 in Dallas. They move on to play now the champions from 2022, the Avalanche, tomorrow night. Rangers took Game 1 at MSG, 4-3 the final over the Hurricanes. MICAH Zibanejad, 2 goals in the first period. First Ranger to do that in a playoff game since 2015. And then Game 1 tonight, a rematch of last year's historic upset, Bruins and Panthers in Florida.
Pat Boyle, thank you so much. Coming up, we have the most thankless job in sports. Who's going to be sitting in the big chair next? We've got our thoughts. We'll bring it to you in just moments. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Peter Blatty's got something to say about Tom Brady and a roast on that day. He's angry and he's speaking his mind, saying Brady was out of line. Should've known better, should've thought twice before agreeing to that roast. It ain't right, talking about his ex-wife crossing the line. Peter Blatty says someone needs to find that children shouldn't have to hear all of that. It's not fair to them, it's a matter of fact. Brady, you messed up, it's time to face the truth. Peter Blatty won't forgive you, that's the truth. Live a few, if I face the truth. Peter Blatty won't forgive you, that's the proof. Peter Blatty's got something to say about Tom Brady and the roast on that day. He's angry and he's speaking his mind, saying Brady was out of line. Should've known better, should've thought twice before agreeing to that roast. It ain't right, talking about his ex-wife crossing the line. Peter Blatty says someone needs to find the children shouldn't have to hear all of that. It's not fair. Peter Blatty's got something to say about Tom Brady and a roast on that day. He's angry and he's speaking his mind, saying Brady was out of line. Should've known better, should've thought twice before agreeing to that roast. It ain't right, talking about his ex-wife crossing the line. Peter Blatty says someone needs to find that children shouldn't have to hear all of that. It's not fair to them, it's a matter of fact. Brady.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff, morning show here, Infinity Sports Network. We've been talking a lot about rivalries because that's what's going on in pop culture right now. We got a little Drake, Kendrick Lamar, one diss track after the other. We're asking, does sports have anything like this right now?
I put up a poll question.
What do you got?
I said, are individual athlete rivalries as intense as they used to be? 96% say no.
John's in Arkansas wants to weigh in. John, how are you, sir?
Good. Good morning, everybody.
How you doing?
Good. Besides this budding rivalry with you guys in the sound bites, I'm going to go with, and it's, fairly new. How about the Nuggets-Lakers with Malone talking all that smack last year and then Denver kind of ruining everything for the Lakers this year?
Yeah, and I think Anthony Davis even said something preseason, right? How we heard the noise and we heard what Michael Malone said. John, thanks so much. I think it's something, although to Perloff's point, to be a true rivalry, the other side's got to win a couple.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Lakers not being able to push them at all ruined that. That would be a great team rivalry, but the Lakers aren't there.
Speaking of the Lakers, so this happened Friday afternoon, long after our show was over, and that is the Lakers parting ways with DarvinHam. That was not a surprise, Perloff, but the Lakers coach is probably the most thankless job in sports. I mean, you get to be the coach of the Lakers, so I guess you got that going for you, and you get paid millions of dollars, but you will be the first scapegoat and the first person blamed if LeBron James gets so much as a hangnail, let alone you lose the series 4-1 to Denver.
I totally agree. I would not have taken that job if I was DarvinHam. There's nothing to get out of it. Even if you win, the perception is LeBron was the coach anyway, so there's no upside except 2 years of salary. And it's funny, he got fired, and nobody cared. He's the Lakers coach when LeBron is there is so superfluous. I don't even know, why would anyone take this job, anyone that was good?
Well, here are the candidates right now. If you want the odds on who is to become the next Lakers head coach, it's Mike Budenholzer at plus 320. I mean, you talk about a guy who's hired to get fired. It would be Mike Budenholzer. And no disrespect to him, he won a title, but he was on the hot seat, and that title is basically the only thing that kept him in the job with the Bucks for 2 more years until they got rid of him in favor of Adrian Griffin, who they then got rid of to bring in Doc Rivers, the spin doctor himself. And so, I mean, the fact that Doc Rivers is not available, I think Doc would have been higher on this list, would have been on this list. Kenny Atkinson, the Warriors assistant, is the next at plus 420.
DarvinHam 2.0.
I mean, Ty Lue at plus 460. He's under contract with the Clippers.
Yeah, Lue's not going to leave to go over there. The interesting thing about Budenholzer is if you think about Lakers coach Pat Riley brought style to the coaching profession. Mike Budenholzer, are you going to wear a 3/4 zip and look like you didn't shower? And the Lakers coach,
well, appearances can be deceiving. There,
Buds is a really smart coach, but
Jeff Van Gundy looked like he hadn't slept in 6 months, and he got a team to the finals.
I just think it's a funny aesthetic mix to put Budenholzer in LA, and it'll work. I mean, honestly, they could do a lot worse than that. And Kenny Atkinson, also an excellent coach, but it's a really tough spot. We're assuming LeBron goes back, right, in this. Otherwise, who cares who their coach is? But if LeBron goes back, it's just going to be a really tough job. I would not take it. Even if I was Atkinson or Budenholzer, I mean, those guys are going to get a job. Budenholzer especially will get a job. I would just hold out.
I think you always got to take the job, right? Don't you?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell somebody not to do it. I just think it's funny that JJ Redick is plus 550.
Now that's the one.
He's probably getting an interview.
Get an interview, okay, but everyone under the sun might get an interview. Just to make JJ Redick the head coach, he just went from DarvinHam, who was a first-time head coach 2 years ago, and then you're going to go to another first-time head coach?
I dare them to try that.
I would love it so much just to see Pete Bellotti watch JJ Redick on the sideline.
Oh, come on.
It'd be great.
When Shams put out the report, or multiple people put out the report, one of the candidates listed was J.J. Redick. It was Budenholzer, Atkinson, and Redick.
Well, I mean, listen, he's already interviewing in Charlotte. We know that. So he's at the level of interviewing for head coaching jobs, and he's on a podcast with LeBron James. It makes sense.
And he is one of the greatest coaches ever in the NBA, and he hasn't even coached a game yet.
Ask him.
I do think if you talk about Mike Budenholzer not having the visual appeal and kind of being a little schlumpy, like J.J. Redick is a star. Like he's a media star. I think a lot of people now know his name. Everybody knows him because of his college days. Like if you're trying to find, hey, let's get a guy who people would know, and that is a big deal with who's on the Lakers sideline. J.J. Redick fits the bill maybe better than anyone else we talked about. Maybe the exception to Teron Lue, since he played for the Lakers, won a championship. But
I think he's the Steve Nash to Kevin Durant in Brooklyn in this scenario, and that did not work at all. So I think if they hire Redick, they're going to get ripped to part. Everyone's going to say, oh, this is the wrong hire. It's because of the podcast. We won't even give him a chance, the poor guy.
I hired Jay Wright.
Yeah, I don't think he's not on these lists, though. I don't think he wants it.
Yep, that's the problem.
You need to be willing, right? 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including who is the bright, shining star ascending the sports world. We're going to find out next. Maggie and Perloff, don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So much going on from a huge weekend in sports. And Perloff, the theme was rivalries and a little animosity. The roast of Tom Brady last night, which was epic. Tom Brady and his feuds with Bill Belichick, his divorce from Giselle, all that stuff was fodder for comedians, and it was center stage, and it was pretty great. I mean, feuds have now just been, this is the moment. Kendrick Lamar and Drake. We're asking if there's any feuds and rivalries right like that in professional sports, where two people at the top of their game just are slinging arrows back and forth.
I don't see it, especially if you're talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's real. It seems to me like it's real hatred. Like, I'm generally one of those people, I think like you, skeptical. Anytime I see something in show business, I'm like, oh, this is all to sell records, or this is all to promote a movie.
Yeah.
Usually, you know, if you see somebody dating right around the release of a movie date, you know it's all artificial.
Sure.
Kendrick Lamar and Drake, correct me if I'm wrong, that is getting pretty serious. Nothing like this is happening in sports. Everybody loves each other.
I think we still have these rivalries. Athletes are a little bit more stealth about it, just a little bit, because they either want to protect brands or they don't want to be a quote-unquote distraction, which is like the worst thing you can be. But deep down, I think that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, when they were at the top of their games, I think they were definitely rivals. I mean, Peyton Manning saying he felt like the locker room was being bugged every time he went to Foxborough.
Yeah.
I think that was true. And so I do think that rivalries exist. And I think they're just maybe not as totally out in the open, like diss tracks going back and forth. But that doesn't mean guys don't want to, beat each other with every fiber of their body.
But it's so different now because free agency is so pervasive now. And if you're in the NBA, you're always scouting your next team, and you're scouting which star do you want to play with. It used to be you were stuck. So you couldn't be like LeBron and be like, ooh, I like that guy on the other team. I better be nice to him. And college is the same way now. Everybody, they can't have a rivalry because you're going to transfer to 4 different schools. You're probably going to be teammates with your rivals. I just don't think the animosity can build by the structure of sports anymore. Also, too, these guys they're brands. They're not individual players, and they are full on brands with huge business incentive to be friends with each other.
855-212-4227. Do you think rivalries still exist, and is this something that sports really needs? Because I think rivalries are some of the best things that we have. It gets us really interested when you have one person and you have the foil, or you have people who are on opposite sides. It's fantastic.
Sorry, that ain't happening anymore. I mean, college football, they went to 12-team playoff. Goodbye, Ohio State, Michigan. There's no rivalries left. It's not an age of rivalries. Rivalries. It's hard to say. You have Duke, North Carolina, and Ohio State, Michigan. That's all you have left. And I'm sorry, now that Coach K is gone, I don't even know if the basketball one lasts, and the college football is changing so fast. If they go to an NFL format, then that kills Ohio State, Michigan. I'm telling you, rivalries are in trouble.
I think the fans will keep the college football rivalries alive. The Alabama LSU, Alabama Auburn. I mean, these are real. You mentioned about the college football playoff. Is that going to water things down a little bit because you can lose that rivalry game and you can still have a shot of making the postseason? I get what you're saying, but I think that it's just presented to us a little different. It's not, we're leaving Isaiah Thomas off the dream team and you know that Michael Jordan had a hand in it. It might not be that overt, but I do think guys dislike each other for sure. I mean, you know each other so well. Sometimes that leads to friendships, but other times it leads to friction. And, I think there are guys in the league who they might respect each other. I'm talking about every league. They respect each other, but that doesn't mean they don't want to beat the brakes off each other. And they're all secretly stone cold killers underneath.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, I agree with all that, but I think that they just view opponents differently. They view every opponent as a possible future partner as well. And that's the way it is. The truth is, probably half the league wants to play with Anthony Edwards right now and say, ooh, I want to play with that guy, not I want to beat that guy.
Yeah, the emerging star from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, okay, it was pop culture, it was sports last night combining with the Tom Brady roast. And I think the roast on Netflix where nobody was spared, as I mentioned, it was Tom, Belichick, all of Tom's teammates, and Giselle obviously took a lot of shrapnel also because the jokes were about his divorce. The jokes were about her allegedly cheating on him with a jiu-jitsu instructor. We've been talking about whether or not Tom should take ownership that, this sort of reflects poorly on him and on Giselle. And there are definitely kids involved. And listen, everyone parents their kids different ways. That's why I think he had to have given his family the heads up on this and in some ways gotten a sign off or an approval. His kids are older now. I mean, 2 of them, I think, are in high school. Maybe the third one is on the way to high school, the little girl. So they're going to know. They're out there in the world. Like your daughters, Perloff, are 13 and 12. Yeah. They're on TikTok, 23 hours a day. You can't hide the world from them. So I think that Tom would have had to have told them, listen, I'm doing this thing and it's probably going to get personal and it might be about me and your mother. How could he not say that? He can't just, plead ignorance as, sorry, guys, I had no idea they were going to make fun of your mom.
Well, listen, it's not like Tom Brady's a master family builder here. Obviously, things have gone awry. He famously left his first partner to go with Giselle. And then this Giselle thing blew up in his face. So it's not like he's perfectly planning all this. You really think that he sat down with his kids and say, listen, I'm about to do this roast. They're going to make fun of your mom. They're going to talk about how she cheated on me.
Well, okay, EJ, how old are the kids?
14 and 11, the Giselle kids.
You have to be somewhat honest with your kids when they're 14 and 11, don't you?
I don't know. Does Giselle admit she had an affair to them? She probably is lying about it.
She's denied it. She's denied that she had the affair.
Yeah, I mean, I think the timeline was probably a little bit fuzzy. Who knows? That's their personal business. But we're talking about now Tom agrees to do a live Netflix roast that's being hosted by Kevin Hart. Like, that it's not just going to be all Deflategate jokes.
Right, but do the kids know or at least believe that their mom had an affair before last night?
Well, I'm not sure, but if I have to imagine that Brady would have had to brace them for this. Again, they're online. And the son with Bridget Moynihan, EJ, can you find out how old he is?
He's going to be 17 this year.
17! I mean, you know a lot when you're 17. Like, you have access to a lot of the world when you're 17. So,
and Tom Brady is such an organized, perfect parent that he saw all this coming and sat them down and warned them. How would this conversation
giving Brady
go?
the benefit of the doubt.
Let's just role play for a second.
Yeah.
Say I'm a 14-year-old kid. What would Tom Brady have said?
I think you have to say, listen, I'm going to do this thing. It's called a roast. They're going to make fun of me, and it's going to be jokes about me, but there also might be some jokes about how your mother and I got divorced. And so, this is something where either we're going to have to learn how to laugh at our problems and that we're not perfect people, or, you just have to say, I'm putting myself out there. I don't know exactly what you say, but you can't say nothing. And then,
I guarantee he said nothing.
So you think he texted his kids last night, hey, sorry about that? I mean, that's crazy.
Think you don't bring it up. You don't talk about this guy. I mean, I fortunately have never been in this situation, but if you are in the middle of a divorce, I don't think you talk about affairs with the kids. I mean, do you? Honestly, I know.
It's splashed all over the page 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure the kids saw that.
It's a Google search away.
Yeah, eventually they'll get it, but to have it put in their face like this could not have been comfortable for anybody.
So do you think Tom Brady now, was this a regret? Did he make the wrong decision doing this last night?
Yes, but I think he's leading quite an abnormal life. So I'm not sure if the calculus is the same. Yeah, honestly, I didn't. Did you guys understand why Tom Brady was doing this? I'm still not quite sure I get it.
That's the question I was going to ask you guys, because to me, I don't know what anybody gains from this, which is why I think there definitely could be issues in the household after this, because Brady gained money. That we know for a fact at this point. I don't know if, like, when you're telling your kid, hey, there's going to be some jokes about us, if I'm the kid, I'm saying, well, what do we get out of it? You're Maggie saying a hard lesson about jokes and having to laugh at yourself. I mean, this seems like a painful way for you to get a lesson, especially when dad is getting $20 million or wherever he got to do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is a public way to say, hey, you got to be able to laugh at yourself. And
first of all, when you do something, are you trying to teach your kid a lesson? This is real parenting. We're both parents. I never do anything and say, well, I want to teach my kids a lesson. This isn't some kind of self-help book. That's not how parents operate.
Okay, but if you believe that he just did it then to do it or did it for the money, then you have to think that Tom Brady is the most selfish, narcissistic person on earth. Because, again, you would say then that he, without a thought, is walking into this knowing that it could be hurtful to his family and to his kids, and he's doing it anyway and doesn't give a crap. I mean, that's not giving Brady the benefit of the doubt on any respect, right?
I have another question to follow up on EJ's question. Why does anybody do a roast? And you mentioned that there are different reasons. I'm just curious, like, everybody does a roast. A lot of people who do a roast have kids out there. Like, I'm not quite sure I get the motivation to be up there.
So I thought it worked very well when Justin Bieber did a roast. And we're talking about Tom Brady was the subject of a roast last night at Netflix. They sold out the forum. I mean, it was really funny. It was good for Bieber because Bieber was, young star celebrity and then got into a little trouble, right? Do you remember? He was like kind of acting like a knucklehead and he sort of had to go away for a minute. And then this was him coming back and he dropped a song with Diplo or whatever. And this sort of like marked his comeback. And because he had these unfavorable headlines, it was almost like getting out in front of it. Like, I'm trying to make a comeback, and I'm going to have the best comedians in the world make fun of me, and let's just get it all out in the open.
Yeah, I feel like Tom Brady's in a much different situation than Justin Bieber because Tom Brady wasn't really down in any sense, except for the fact that he was retired.
So that's what I think this was for Brady. I don't know why he did it, but I think it was maybe like a line of demarcation, like my football career really is over. And I know he's going to be broadcasting on Fox and he'll still be close to football, but kind of this line of demarcation, like Tom Brady, the football player, is gone. And this is sort of a turning point.
Actually, it's so funny. I had the thought last night that, he's getting pretty competitive up there. And he's probably not going to like the narrative that comes out of this host. You know what? The best way to get all those jokes out of the way would be 2 weeks from now, say, hello, Raiders. Here I come.
Wow, I would have totally misread the situation then if this is a Tom Brady comeback story.
He actually looked, I mean, obviously, who knows how much help he's getting, but he sure looked like he was young enough to play.
There were open comments made about Tom Brady's plastic surgeon, and he definitely didn't deny anything. That's for sure.
Bill Belichick, on the other hand, not getting plastic surgery. One of the storylines for me was when the first half of the roast, Bill Belichick was not up there on the stage. The second half he was. It was like having dad there when dirty jokes were being told. It was so uncomfortable to watch him. I mean, was there a single moment where you weren't cringing watching Bill Belichick? He was very funny, but he made the whole thing a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah, they gave him a flag and a whistle that he got to like throw a flag at one point.
It didn't really work.
It was really just Gronkowski and Julian Edelman who had like pointed jokes for Belichick. I cannot mention one thing about the Gronkowski joke. Every part of it is dirty, and it would get us kicked off the airwaves, and we're not going to do that.
The one that he actually went back and read.
Rewound the teleprompter. And then Julian Edelman told one about how Bill's famous line was always, I could get the kids at Foxborough High School to execute the play better than you guys. And Julian Edelman said, and I've been waiting a long time to say this, the only job you could get is now coaching Foxborough High School. And so he got his licks in a little bit. Gronkowski's was very dirty, though.
My favorite Belichick joke was when he said, his famous line is, do your job. And then he turns to Gronk and he says, I've been watching you on Fox. Don't do your job.
Stop doing your job.
And Gronk, actually, I thought Gronk maybe was rubbed wrong by a few of the jokes, because I would say 60% of the jokes were about Brady, 40% were about Gronk.
Yes, Gronk's a very easy target. They said he was the only person in the world who was born with CTE.
Oh, I mean,
there was some caveman jokes about Gronkowski.
Remember, someone came up there and said, this is a perfect spot for Gronk because it's a forum, and that's how he counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was perfect.
Again, everyone who was up on that stage definitely got roasted, and Tom and people who weren't there got roasted in the Netflix show last night, and Giselle definitely got roasted. And by extension, that means Tom Brady's kid's mother got roasted in a way that was very personal.
If it ever comes up and you guys, just for fun, not even on TV, want to have a mini roast for me, I'm good. Thanks. After last night, I was thinking, God, I would not be up on that stage. I would not be in I found the celebrity cutaways or the people in the crowd. I didn't even want that. I want nothing to do with this. That is a tough spot.
You know, I'll say this about roasts, and you asked, why would anyone do this?
Right.
There have been super famous people who have done them, and for the most part, it doesn't really stick with them. Like Mike Tyson has been the subject, Shaquille O'Neal, Peyton Manning. There's been other athletes who have been the subject of roasts, and it doesn't end their careers, or it doesn't make the public think very differently of them, right? Because you thought that before. I think you said something like, this makes Giselle look bad and it makes Tom Brady look bad, Perloff.
Yeah, well, I think everyone's, Rob Lowe getting roasted is different than Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's at the top he's the GOAT, and he's very well respected. It was risky for him coming off a divorce, just having retired, being connected to 2 cheating scandals. Honestly, if I was advising Tom Brady, I would have said, are you sure? I kept thinking, I'm like, is Tom sure about this? Did he want to do this? He looks awfully uncomfortable up there.
Maybe he just wanted to show that he has an ability to laugh at himself.
Yeah, I think he achieved that. Actually, it's funny. I think he won the night in a weird way. He came out of this feeling like, oh, this is a guy we can relate to. He's going to be good as a broadcaster. I do think he opened up. He is way behind. Peyton Manning, once again, showed that dude owns comic timing. He's so funny. There are a lot of guys. You said Nikki Glaser, a big star comedian. She got a
standing ovation. Yeah. I mean, Nikki Glaser, professional comedian, obviously got a standing O. And one of her jokes was one of the ones about Giselle and Tom together that is 100% not safe for our airways, and also probably the most biting one of the night.
Yeah. By the way, how many CTE? Everything there was sort of we've been worried about CTE and we've been worried about this and that, and they kind of went there. Anybody who was saying that comedy has to be politically correct, I think they heard that and said, we are going to go 180 degrees the opposite. There was every kind of, it felt a little like 1975 with some of the jokes, like, oh, where's Don Rickles? Are you allowed to say that? But once everybody was saying stuff, then it became fair game, which was entertaining for sure. I only meant to watch 10 minutes.
You got sucked in.
10 minutes in, I'm like, Kevin Hart's just doing his bit. It's kind of funny, but I don't need to see this. Then what sucked me in was Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe
came out there throwing fireballs, much like he did as a young first-round pick with all that velocity. I couldn't believe it. Did you know Drew Bledsoe was funny? Former Bills quarterback?
No, I had no idea Drew Bledsoe was funny. He said, unlike Bill Belichick, like when I got fired, I got another job right away. He said, He said some people, would go and have a drink if they lost their job to Tom Brady. I opened a winery. I mean, all Tom does is wine. Where's the flag? I mean, I'm not doing him justice. He was very good.
I loved all those lines. The second it became real too, when they made the first Giselle cheating joke, then I was like, okay, well, if that's on the table, then everything is.
No doubt. 855-212-4227. So there you have it. Talking about the roast of Tom Brady, and do you think a bit differently about him because he was so willing to put himself and by extension his family out there to be the butt of the joke? 855-212-4227. Mentioned it. A comeback could be in the works. It's not Tom Brady's. We'll get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Okay, Tom Brady roast yesterday on Netflix. We're talking a lot about it. That was not the only former NFL player who I saw a lot of this weekend. There is a JJWatt Miller Lite commercial running around the clock. him and Luke Wilson and another former athlete. And I actually had this thought. I was thinking this randomly, unsolicited. I said to myself, wow, J.J. Watt's lost a lot of weight since he played. But now he's talking about coming back, Maggie.
Well, here was J.J. Watt on whether or not he would make a comeback to the NFL.
I mean, I told D'Amico last year, I said, don't call unless you absolutely need it. But if you ever do call, I'll be there. And he knows not to call unless he absolutely needs it. This is the last year I'll tell him that because I'm not going to keep training the way I've been training. But he knows that if he ever truly does need it, I'll be there for him.
It's funny. It's kind of being painted like, J.J. Watt would come back in as like the hero, the savior, wearing the cape if you really need it. When this would ultimately really benefit J.J. Watt more than anyone else, right? Because if he came back for a Super Bowl run, then he gets to win a Super Bowl ring, which is something he never got in his illustrious career.
Wait, but if you're a Texans fan, aren't you all in? Of course you want J.J. Watt back. J.J. Watt is an amazing football player. If he can just add 30 pounds of muscle and just be back. No, I don't see that at all. Like, J.J. Watt, put him in 15 plays a game, like, be the closer? Heck yeah.
Okay, then why wasn't he on the Houston Texans then? He went to the Arizona Cardinals, and then he retired. Well, he didn't officially retire, and then he stepped away. He didn't play at all last year. If he really could be a contributor, and if he really wants to play for the team.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm a fan, I'm like, yeah, bring him out here. Honestly, I would jump on this opportunity and say, yes, we are a really good team, and we'll just be better with J.J. Watt. Who cares about...
But then why not have him from the beginning of the season? Why not be a little more serious?
I don't know. I mean, after that quote, if you're D'Amico Ryans, don't you call him and say, hey, let's go. Put on some weight. Let's do it.
Well, he said, D'Amico, only call me if you really need me.
Right. I'm not quite sure what he means by that.
Like
but
if 3 other defensive ends go down for injury or something like that.
I mean, here's the thing. J.J. Watt can play end. He can play tackle. He's ready to go. So I would definitely bring him in. I would have taken that as an opportunity because J.J. Watt's he's like Aaron Donald, but is he 35 now? Mm-hmm. J.J. Watt does this thing at the line too, where he doesn't have to get the quarterback because he can walk back and bat those passes.
Sure.
How can anybody be not for this if you're a Houston fan?
Well, I think you're forgetting. I mean, he did have injuries at the end of his career. There's a reason why people decide to hang it up.
But I assumed all that stuff has cleared itself out with a year out of the game and that he can contribute. You only need him like 15 plays a game. Bring him in for pass rush situations. The fact that the Texans, he said this to me, he says, are the Texans a real Super Bowl contender now? Can he be a missing piece? Like, that's where we are with the team that was awful 3 years ago. This is really the reason he didn't go back to Houston last year is because they were coming off a 3-win season. Why was he going to go back to that?
I know, but it does feel a little like, are you really going to glob on? I know he's done a lot for the organization. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and all of that. But it's like you get to join for the stretch run here for the last, 8 games?
Yeah, who cares?
I don't know.
I mean, would you want him on the Bills?
No, I got Von Miller to not do anything.
I don't
need another slow, older guy like that who's not really going to be a contributor.
Why would he not be a contributor? He's one of the 5 most talented defensive players of all time.
Then why wouldn't he be on the team?
Because he has injuries. He's older. He retired. He would only come back for a special situation where he thinks he could win it all. Like, why is he going to come back to go 7-10?
Well, again, come back now then.
Yeah, I think he should.
Well, he's saying he's not going to come back to start the season. This is only like a if emergency break glass situation.
Yeah, I know. But honestly, if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'll be like, I like what you're saying. Let's just do it right now. Honestly, he looks really skinny. Really skinny.
Well, he's getting ready for TV.
Yeah, I mean, he was huge in his playing days. So that to me seems a little weird. Can he put on all that weight again? Once you have a taste of the skinny life, I don't know if you can go back.
855-212-4227. We're talking about J.J. Watt, maybe, teasing a little bit of a comeback. We've also been asking about rivalries. Kendrick Lamar and Drake have this epic sort of beef going on, these 2 rappers. Do we have anything like this left in sports? Mike is in California. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good to talk to you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I usually catch you guys in the mornings. I'm getting ready for work and stuff, so it's hard to usually call in, but I still catch you when I can.
This is great. Mike is one of the all-time great callers from when we were on the afternoon show and also a phenomenal chef and would leave recipes on our Facebook page, which we love. Tell us about your rivalry stuff and then tell us something you're making lately in the kitchen, Mike.
Well, I would say, we talked about this before. I still think one of the great sports rivalry that will never die as long as they both play football will be Army versus Navy.
No doubt.
That rivalry is never going anyplace, and I think that there's so much respect between both sides, but there's still also that vitriol towards each side. So that rivalry, as long as they're both playing sports, that's never going away.
You're so right. And Perloff and I have been lucky enough to see this up close and personal going to the Army-Navy game as part of the CBS Sports Network. And it was so much fun, so intense, but obviously the respect is there. And what are you making these days, Mike? Give us a recipe.
The biggest one I've been doing a lot lately is doing pork belly burnt in tacos still. Those have turned into a huge hit with a lot of people to get food for me. So it's basically pork belly cut into cubes. You smoke it with barbecue rub on it. Pull it back out after about 2 hours. Cover it with sauce, butter, honey, maple syrup, and some more rub, and then cover it and put it back in so everything caramelizes together. And then put that instead of chop it into smaller chunks, and throw that in a corn tortilla with a spicy coleslaw on top of it with a barbecue hot sauce.
Not exactly the Tom Brady diet, Mike, but
No.
that sounds amazing. Oh, knew that you were going to hit that out of the park.
But if JJ started eating those, he might be able to get back up to weight.
Send some over his way. No, Mike's a big Raider fan. Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you for checking in.
Mike's
a Saints fan.
He had me a pork belly. I love pork belly. If you ever go to a good restaurant, they have pork belly on the menu, Maggie, get it. It's just bacon.
That's like the Tao of Perloff.
It's like hardcore bacon. You guys ever been to Peter Luger's or
pork belly
or Wolfgang's?
Awesome. Yeah.
They do
a Korean barbecue pork belly. Also, they do the thing.
Yes.
How many times a week, though, can you eat pork belly?
7.
Oh.
I can eat
7
bacon.
if you want to go straight to the cardiologist.
I can eat bacon with every meal. Easily.
Well, you can, but you don't.
You wouldn't last very long doing that, but.
Well, I'm just saying, I wouldn't get sick of it. And, there's Atkins diet. People who go all protein, they eat bacon every meal.
Perloff's currently scrolling Google Images for bacon.
It's a screensaver.
Wait.
Ringtone is just like sizzling
You
bacon
guys
in the pan.
Is it everyone here? You're into bacon. You love bacon. Oh, you put turkey bacon on things.
Yeah, I have a very unpopular opinion about bacon.
Oh, edit this out of the
And what is
podcast.
that?
Whatever this is not going to be good.
It smells better than it tastes.
Oh, God. Take that out of the pod.
That is an unpopular opinion.
The smell of bacon cooking in the pan is actually, that smell is a top 5, top 3 smell of all time.
Yeah.
And it's actually better than the taste of it.
Yeah, but
I
that
think
doesn't-
the same thing about donuts, by the
Doesn't
way.
mean it tastes bad.
No,
just
it
the
just
smell
smells
is better
better.
than the taste.
What do you also dislike puppies? What
rainbows.
Rainbows.
Fresh cut grass. all of
America.
it.
How can you not like the taste of bacon?
It's not that I don't like it. I just think the smell is better.
But you say that, and that's your reasoning for not eating it, though. So that makes me think that you actually don't think it tastes that
It
good.
will be a disappointment because it's never going to be as good as the smell. See, again,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I lived next to a donut plant at one point, and I would run by and walk by the donut plant. It's like, oh, this is the best smell I've ever smelled. And then I finally would go get the donut to like scratch the itch and like satisfy the craving, and it never lived up to how good the smell was.
Oh, my God.
You don't like donuts and you don't like bacon.
Oh, my God. What are
I
we
don't
doing?
like it. I'm just saying I got let down. I might as well just enjoy the smell for all the smell's worth.
Let down. Who's ever been let down by a donut? It's the one thing on earth that we know will never let you down.
When Krispy Kreme puts on that, hot donut sign, you might as well make it a national holiday, in my opinion.
Just stop. I mean, we cannot. I'm not going to get through the rest of the show. Bacon and donuts, those are the 2 number 1 seeds of all things in life. That's the only thing everyone can agree with, and you think you're basically saying they're overrated.
Yeah, I guess
I can't think of anything else. I can't think of any food. I mean, I love lobster, but there are some people who don't like lobster. Everyone likes donuts and bacon.
I would agree.
Telling you, give it a just big.
Oh, you're
You like the video of that woman that's like sniffing the chocolate bar, like she's huffing it and then eating the broccoli?
I saw that. That is
that
psychotic.
what you do?
I would not do that. That was psycho. Why was she doing that? She smells a chocolate bar and then eats a piece of broccoli.
to enjoy this sensation. Let me ask you a question. If I had an egg and cheese in front of you, one had bacon on it and one did not have bacon, you would choose the one with bacon, right?
I just no.
Oh.
Perloff's disgusted.
Oh, I'm so offended by this.
Walk out of the studio.
All right. Sorry. There's got to be a food take that you have, food opinion that would offend people.
Well, he said he was going to eat chicken sashimi. That was pretty.
Oh, yeah. You want to eat raw chicken. Yuck.
I don't want to eat it, but I would.
At a high-end restaurant. That was the line.
Yeah,
It had to be a very high-end
All right,
restaurant.
you got it.
I hope it wasn't, one just fell out of the fryer at Popeyes or something. Just didn't
If
get
you had
cooked
just gone with bacon or just gone with donuts, then we'd be even. But the fact that you did bacon and donuts, it's even worse than liking chicken sashimi, which I don't like, by the way. But I would eat it on a dare, which you would not.
No, I wouldn't. Pat's here. He's got headlines.
Hey, how are you? The home team hadn't lost a single game in the Cavs Magic series, but Game 7 yesterday was trending towards bucking that trend. The Magic had an 18-point lead in the second quarter. Then Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs defense took over. They held the Magic to just 41 points in the second half, and they stormed back to win 106-94. The Magic are going home. Spida, 39 points, 9 rebounds, so 89 points in the final 2 games of the series. Cavs head coach J.B. Bickerstaff on Mitchell being so clutch.
For us, you're just managing time, score, and then, how do we get the guys the ball that need the ball in the right positions, and just continue to watch the lead chip away. We'll go back. We'll think about it a little bit more later, but he was special when he needed to be most.
Jarrett Allen was out again for Cleveland with a rib injury for the third straight game, so Evan Mobley stepped up, 11 points, 16 boards. The Cavs win their first playoff series since 2018. That was LeBron's final year with them. Last time Cleveland won a playoff series without LeBron James, 1993. On the losing side, plenty of positives for the young upstart Magic and Paolo Banchero. He had 38 points and 16 rebounds, but man, what a collapse yesterday nonetheless. Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, their second and third best scorers, a combined 3 for 28 from the field.
Delta is also in the chat saying coffee smells better than it tastes as well.
100%.
That's a big one.
That's a good one.
But I love
a lot of
coffee.
kids. Yeah, a lot of kids don't like the taste of coffee. My kids like the way it smells, but don't think it's gross.
I used to hate the taste of coffee. Now it's absolute must.
You grow into it, right, as you get older.
That's the definition of an acquired taste to me.
Start working some weird hours. You'll get used to coffee real fast.
Yeah. Cavs Celtics in Boston Game 1 tomorrow night. We previewed Knicks Pacers Game 1 last hour. That's 7:30 tonight on TNT. After that, Game 2 in Denver, Nuggets T-Wolves. Minnesota up 1-0 in the series after another dominant 43-point performance from Anthony Edwards back on Saturday. Head coach of the reigning champs, Michael Malone, said, yeah, Anthony Edwards is good, but his worries are with other players.
We can do a lot of things better, give him different looks, but I worry about more of the other guys. How can we take away Conley, Towns, and Naz Reid and not allow them not only have the impact, but those guys didn't miss. They didn't feel us at all.
He's right.
It's a good point. Well, first of all, the first half, it was 44-40, and the T-Wolves had 40 points, and Edwards had 25 of them. So I'm not sure that's accurate. But then when Naz Reid and Conley got on fire, those guys, here's the thing. They're not going to hit their three-pointers this regularly, are they? I know Naz Reid, Sixth Man of the Year, is a good player, but I don't know. I'd like to do a show bet if anyone wants it. I'll take the T-Wolves against the Nuggets. You want to do that?
I like Minnesota, so I'm not going to take that one.
I'll take that show. But here's the interesting thing about it is usually those role players, if you will, like do better at home, not on the road.
That seems to be disappearing this offseason. The Knicks did better on the road in some ways.
It's like in Denver, the altitude, it's such a boogeyman for other teams, I mean, I think it's real, getting acclimated, but it's also like this perceived home court advantage that they have that's just so much greater. And then the Timberwolves came in and it's like, we'll win Game 1.
Well, I think the Nuggets had to focus so much on Edwards. He was getting flat out straight naked double teams.
Mm-hmm.
Then it left Conley wide open. Then Naz Reid got lucky.
By the way,
you want to do a show bet? You think that the Timberwolves are going to win? And
I like the T-Wolves big time.
To win the series?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that show bet.
By the way, T-Wolves 15th in the NBA three-pointers made, but 3rd in three-point percentage. So don't shoot a lot, but they're very accurate.
How many they made? They made 11 the other night.
They average making 12 a game in the regular season.
Home court advantage for Denver, yes. Home court advantage in the first quarter, no shot. They have been terrible in the first quarter at home. 18-4 that game started out on Saturday. Michael Malone was also asked about yet another slow start. He said there's a problem if they get off to another slow start tonight. So look out for that. On the ice, last repeat Stanley Cup champions 3 years ago when the Lightning went back-to-back. It stays like that. The Dallas Stars knocked out the reigning champion Golden Knights in Game 7 last night in Dallas, 2-1 the final. They now get the 2022 champs, the Avalanche, in the next round, Game 1 tomorrow night. Rangers took down the Hurricanes 4-3 in Game 1 at MSG. Tonight, game one in the other second-round matchup in the East, rematch of last year's stunning first-round upset. Bruins now the underdogs this time against the reigning Eastern Conference champions, the Florida Panthers. Finally, in the aftermath of the NFL draft, we're getting some media sessions at rookie minicamps. That includes Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy, who broke the combine 40-yard dash record with a 4.21. If you're that fast, you're probably pretty skinny, unless you're Usain Bolt. Worthy's 169 pounds. Is he too skinny? He was asked about his weight.
I weighed in at 169, but I don't think I took big hits. I delivered them. But nah, I feel like it's not going to be a problem. I feel like just understanding your strengths and your weaknesses, I feel like that's the big thing in the league. Don't obviously try to go hit a 215-pound linebacker. So just understanding your weight, understanding your strengths, like I said. And D-Jack was obviously, he came in the league 169 and understood his strengths. So just using your strengths to your strength.
That's Deshaun Jackson, by the way, who he's comparing himself to.
You guys have told me, don't worry, Maggie. It's not like the Chiefs just added this unbelievable weapon who's probably going to send your Buffalo Bills home yet again in the postseason. Of course I'm worried about this. This dude's out there, footwork looks immaculate. You don't think that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to put him in a perfect situation where he's just going to burn everybody?
He's a toothpick.
I hate you guys.
Yeah, they play the Steelers on the road. I pray for him. He doesn't go over the middle. Patrick Queen will split him in two like it's like not another teen movie.
They're not going to let him do that. If anybody can help put him in the right situation, don't you think it's Reid and Mahomes?
I do. I mean, I love the pick. I mean, Perloff's been the guy who's saying that Xavier Worthy's a bum.
I got crushed because they're like, oh, it's okay. The Bills could trade with the Chiefs. It's not that big of a deal. It's annoying.
Well, they were going to draft him anyway, so I think that Bills won that trade. Chiefs were going to get him at 32 probably, or they would have gotten somebody else who's good. Here's the thing about the Chiefs. They draft everything well, but they failed at speed receiver. They got McCole Hardman, didn't work out. They signed MVS, didn't work out. So
it didn't work out. All those guys have rings.
I think Hardman's a disappointment. He was supposed to be the heir apparent.
I agree. Marquez Valdez-Scantling literally couldn't catch a cold.
But he has one catch. Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's almost like in spite of that, though, it feels like anybody could have done what those guys did. Like, those guys didn't come in and add anything to the Chiefs' offense. In fact, they were, for the most part, a detriment.
I mean, can that defense be the same as it was last year? They lost Snead, and also Spagnuolo, he can't outsmart the entire NFL 3 years in a row. I just think...
He has been.
Yeah, I know, but he's won Super Bowls in the past and come back to the pack. A three-peat seems so hard to believe. It's not going to be because of Xavier Worthy. There's many reasons. It's really because of Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, Maggie.
Exactly. No, everyone, we all know.
I wouldn't worry about the receiver. I'd worry about the quarterback.
Great.
That's all I got. Just Patrick Mahomes guarantees that they're going to win. Oh, I don't know if he guaranteed.
We did that last week. Yeah, it was sort of a soft guarantee.
He basically said they're going to win the Super Bowl.
We're going to run the, what was it?
Corn dog.
Corn dog play for 3 years in a row.
Bad name for a play. Corn dog.
If your coach is 500 pounds, then you love it.
He's not anymore.
500 pounds.
You know what I mean.
He looks great, by the way. I will not take that, Andy.
Wait, he lost weight?
Oh, my God. Did you see him in the owner's picture? He looks great.
Can you really tell?
Yeah. I'll show you. He looks really, really
With
good.
With the Hawaiian shirt on? I think I saw
I love how much your Bills fandom is coming out right now.
No, I mean,
Andy Reid's 500 pounds, and you can't tell that he lost any weight.
Guys. Okay, maybe not 500. Is he 3? He's what, 365?
He's probably 100 pounds off his peak.
Okay, well, good for him.
I'm just messing around. Perloff pushed back when I said Jimmy Butler was 38 going on 50 when he's only 34. So
I'll support Perloff in this thing. I think he does look good in this picture. I agree.
Yeah.
He's
skinny.
lost 60 pounds.
I mean, I don't want to. You're not supposed to publicly say people are on Ozempic, but he's might be on Ozempic.
He looks good. That's why I keep saying.
Isn't like everybody on Ozempic?
Yeah, I mean, all of Hollywood is in it.
Apparently, Drake's on Ozempic. That's why that's whole part of this beef.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand said on Instagram post, "Hey, Melissa McCarthy, you look great. Are you on Ozempic?" Not realizing that it was public, much like my parents have done about 1,000 times.
Speaking of Melissa McCarthy, she's in the new Seinfeld movie that's on Netflix now called Unfrosted. My husband and I tried. I think we got 15 minutes in, maybe. It might be the worst movie ever made. And I was a big Seinfeld fan. I bought his book. It's in here somewhere. And all that stuff. It is the best cast of all time and maybe the worst movie ever.
Is it a real fiction movie?
No, it's made up.
No.
Who would you?
No, I mean, is it like a movie?
It's not like a documentary or mockumentary.
Okay,
they
so
would have been smarter to do that. And I feel bad because I really like Spike Ferenson, who also helped write this movie. And he was a great writer on Seinfeld. He wrote the Top of the Muffin to You episode and helped write the Soup Nazi episode. I mean, all-time smart, funny person. This movie just does not land. And every major star's in it.
Who would you rather, Melissa McCarthy, Mike McCarthy?
Either what?
I'd probably take down Mike.
Coach the Cowboys?
No.
Pat, we learn something about you every day.
Of course.
Now, we need to put some stakes on this for me and Perloff if we're going to bet Timberwolves Nuggets here.
So is it a
And by
classic
the way,
food bet?
Should I get a little odds considering I'm betting you the team that's down 0-1?
No, but what are the odds?
Can't do odds. Well,
I'll
we
do
can't
the
do
odds.
odds. Spike will come out of retirement.
Yeah.
No, because I think the Nuggets are favored.
Philly.
Aren't they?
What's that?
I think the
Nuggets
Nuggets are still favored. So I get odds.
No.
Nobody gets odds.
Nobody gets odds. We learned
Yes.
we learned the hard way on this last
Yes, I'm pretty sure
Well,
Ryan
there's
as
some
well would
bets.
not
No.
agree with this.
That's only
Are
if
you
you're
looking
doing
for the
your
odds
own
of the
team.
series?
Yeah, I think
It's Minnesota minus 120.
What is Denver?
I would say plus 100.
Okay.
See?
No odds. No odds. It's
Gotta be straight
Straight up.
That's
it.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting 50-50, essentially.
All right.
What's on the line?
Well, someone
here?
has already
Rocky,
eaten. Somebody's already eaten spicy chicken nuggets, right? That happened before.
What about Rocky Mountain oysters?
Oh.
Okay. I was
thought it was
thinking,
chicken.
what's the Minnesota food? Juicy Lucy's?
Pat, you have no idea what those are? Would you like to be in on this bet?
No.
You've never heard of a Rocky Mountain oyster?
Is that like a sex term?
Not far off.
Not exactly. Are you Googling it?
Yes.
Do you want me to just tell you what it is?
Oh, it's bull testicles.
Thank you.
Apparently
They're
really
deep
good when you
fried.
deep fried. Yes.
Just in case you didn't know.
Deep fried with a little. The last time I had them once in my life. Ranch dressing also on the side, I believe.
I mean, I'll try anything once.
As we learned with your Mike McCarthy quip.
That I wouldn't try. That was a joke.
Sure. Now it's joke. 855-212-4227. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it. Great job all morning. Coming up, we do have a signing. Ha-ha. One contender adding a little bit of help. We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, we've got the terms of our bet here. Perloff and I making a little friendly wager on T-Wolves Nuggets. T-Wolves are up 1-0, yes.
Speaking of Nuggets, what do I have to eat if we lose?
So if I'm going to bet on the Nuggets here, if the Denver Nuggets win, Perloff has to eat Rocky Mountain oysters, which are bull testicles, generally fried.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're prepared any other way. I don't want to Google that.
Okay.
And what do I have to eat? If
I found a food for you. It's called lutefisk. Is
this native of Minnesota?
Well, it's a Norwegian food where all the Norwegian immigrants settled. It is white fish, salted, dried, and soaked in lye. I don't know what lye is, for a few days, and then is reconstituted into a sloppy, gelatinous fish pudding that you douse with butter to somehow choke down.
Ugh.
You're not into sloppy, gelatinous fish pudding?
I'm not into gelatinous anything. We went over this.
Yeah.
I do not eat puddings and jellos
Oh,
and
perfect.
flans and
Perfect. I don't know where we get the lutefisk, but we will find it.
The what?
The lutefisk.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I grew up with this. My grandmother's from Norway, and we had all sorts of weird foods.
I don't even like the smell of any kind. I can't do that.
The best food, and promise you won't giggle if I say this word, Yulakaka.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I knew you. I was
Pete,
so
you got
certain
that?
you would. So certain Maggie would giggle at that. Yulakaka was this cone-shaped pastry. It was amazing.
Michael Pennis, it's
Yeah.
fish.
No, it's a dessert.
Okay.
Yulakaka, and then you fill it with whatever, like something sweet. It's amazing. I'll bring in some Yulakaka and lutefisk. We'll have a gigantic Norwegian party. It's going to be great.
Well, okay, there we go. Terms of the bet set. Maggie Perloff.
Oh, now I need the T-Wolves to win. Now I need them to win. I do not want it. I've never had Rocky Mountain oysters. Do not want any part of it.
You don't want lutefisk soaked in lye?
Yeah, what is lye? Isn't that what you do with a dead body? I was actually surprised by that. Like, is that out of Goodfellas?
I thought it was something out of, Goodfellas or Breaking Bad.
Right.
Fight Club? I don't know.
Oh, another thing. I'll give you an option. Do you eat scrapple?
I don't know what that is.
It's a boiled mush of pork scraps and meat trimmings combined with cornmeal and spices fried in grease. So
it's like a diner thing, right? It's truck stop thing.
It's originally, I know it's in Pennsylvania, it's a big deal. It's it's the worst parts of a pig put together in this weird
that's a
patty.
Hot dog.
A hot dog is high end. Hot dog is filet mignon compared to scrapple.
Oh gosh. A couple poll questions that we should update you on. One off of Tom Brady. Was it wrong for Tom Brady to allow comedians at his roast to target his ex-wife Gisele Bündchen for alleged infidelities? 75% say no, and I'm with that 75%. I know that his kids are going to see this. I would like to think Tom Brady had a conversation before this roast with his kids to say, hey, I'm putting myself out there. We're going to get some friendly fire here from professional comedians. I hope he gave them a heads up on this.
He definitely
so they don't take it personally.
He definitely did not, because that's too awkward a conversation to have with your kid. I got one more food. Actually, I want to audible. It's not too late. The show's not over. If the T-Wolves beat the Nuggets, then Maggie has to eat a whole round of lime jello tuna salad, which is a specialty in Minnesota. Look at it, Maggie. Look at it. It's like a donut, but it's gelatinous tuna. So you take lime jello, hard-boiled eggs, dill pickles, celery, and a can of tuna and make it into a jello. Yes.
No.
Please. Who's with me?
I don't want that.
Maggie, you just turned as green as this lime jello.
I don't want to eat that. I'll eat the fish thing.
Oh, this is the grossest food of all time. I love you, Minnesota.
Oh, no. Also, are there true rivalries left in sports? 51% say no. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti. Thank you to Pat Boyle, to Andrew Kaplan, all the weirdos and the coffee drinkers in the chat. See you tomorrow.